A very warm welcome once again to our audience. Now, quickly moving on to the next panel. The topic for this panel is 1 year of lockdown and how the wedding industry is finding its way to recovery. Weddings constitute an extremely important event in the social institution and the event industry alike. Amidst COVID, the wedding industry experienced several ups and downs due to the numerous lockdowns being imposed. What has the industry done to emerge from the crisis and pave the way for a profitable recovery is something that our speakers will discuss. I now welcome on screen Chetan Bora, Managing Director, Wedding Line, Kunjan Bansal, CEO, Lamore Wedding, Shendra Agarwal, Founder and CEO, Jiva, Ms. Prerna Saxena, Founder, CEO, Theme Viewers Design, and to moderate this session for us, we have Preeti Khatpal. Over to you.
Thank you so much for introducing us. Hi, everybody. This is Preeti Khatpal. I'm an anchor actress from Mumbai, the city of dreams, but the pandemic has put the city of dreams also to sleep. However, we are here connecting to all of you through this virtual platform. And I thank you all for being here with us, especially our panelists here. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hi, Preeti. How are you?
All right, so we have some very interesting questions as the topic that we are discussing, weddings. Well, weddings is this industry which brings people together, it connects families, friends, and now we are all socially distanced. So my first question to begin this discussion to anybody who would like to take on is, how has the last 1 year been for you?
Chetan, would you like to take this?
Please go ahead.
So I think we'll divide the last 1 year into two parts. There was this one part where we were not allowed to do anything. We weren't allowed to leave our houses. We spent a lot of time regrouping, with colleagues from the company, with industry friends and colleagues in the industry. I think a lot of us spent a lot of time on online platforms to really understand the way forward. And we came up with a plan, saying that yes, ye karenge, wo sab karenge. And then come October or September, when the lockdown eased and we were allowed out, everything that everyone spoke about, half of these things were forgotten. And we went back to, it's been a busy season. I can't doubt that we've had, at least for our company, we've had a busy season right from October up till very recently. So there have been a few weddings and some of the big ones as well. So it's been good. But now, of course, the scenario is changing again.
Yes, it is changing and we hope things get better. Gunjan, you're dressed so beautifully. We are in the wedding mood. Even I thought I should do a little glitter and glam. What are your views?
So as Chetan said, that first 6 months were like at home. And we made peace with it. We were at home, we were spending time with family, we were learning new things. And I don't know if you know about my company's profile, but we used to do mostly destination weddings out of India. So now we started exploring more in India and started doing. So to be honest, I did only one wedding till now. So it was a big one, and it was like in Delhi itself. I'm still in that mode where I am like not fully out there, but we are getting there. Let's see.
Well, you must be feeling like Amir Khan of the wedding industry, just one project a year.
Yeah, I would not compare myself with Amir Khan, but yeah, I mean, I'm like taking it easy still because the COVID situation hasn't improved yet. So I am at least, I am taking it very slow. I'm still in that sabbatical mode and, just coming out of it. And then again, the lockdown happened. So
very true. Again. However, you're glowing and looking so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to our other panelists who would like to answer this. How has the last year been for you?
So I'll take this question. So as Chetan and Gunjan said, the first 6 months were quiet. All of us were sitting, doing Zoom meetings with our teammates. trying to build out a future plan, laying down strategies, doing a lot of research work. Uh, but as soon as post the lockdown was lifted, things started opening up. There was a sudden pent up demand in the market also, and I think that was also there slightly in the wedding industry as well, because so wedding is something which can postpone, but definitely it's not something which will not happen. The number of guests can go down to 50 or 40, but still wedding is something that will happen. And the wedding industry, what I also noticed was, uh, so if you look at the wedding industry, it's of two types. One is there is a catering decoration industry, and second is people spend money on gifts, on jewelries, gehnas, etc. So the first part of the business was very severely affected, because the count of guests went down drastically from 500,000 to 40, 50 maximum. Uh, and people were not spending that much in getting big halls, etc. They were doing it in small gatherings. So that was severely affected. The second part was not that severely affected. There was a pent up demand in that, because usually these gifts or people dressing up, etc., is something which happens, which will even happen if there are 50 people who are attending a wedding. So which is what we also saw in the jewelry industry, with some of my friends and with some, with us as well, that a lot of shopping for jewelry was happening, uh, post COVID, and people were purchasing it for small occasions. What also started happening was, women who used to save, I'm talking about millennial women's, who used to save and spend a lot for weddings. Given there were not many weddings, they were actually spending in their day-to-day wear, uh, you know, accessories as well. For example, women were initially who were purchasing 4 or 5 jewelry in a year for their daily wear or small party wear occasions were now purchasing 6 to 7, because they wanted to spend, and wedding as an occasion was something which was not there. So they were purchasing for small parties or wherever they would go. So that was also one shift that we have seen.
So we finally get to hear from somebody's mouth that people are spending. I've only been hearing about everybody saving and budgets are going lower and lower. So women are spending on jewelry. I think I should get into the jewelry business.
You should get
Do
into.
we have Prerna Saxena with us?
Sorry.
Do we have Prerna?
Hi.
Yes. Hi. Welcome, Prerna.
Hi.
So-
Sorry, I'm sitting somewhere in a department, and sorry, there'll be a little disturbance, but I do wanted to attend the session, so here I am. Please.
So, Prerna, we are talking in general. How has the last 1 year, in regards to weddings, been, and also how has your experience been the past 1 year?
So, like I said, that of course it was overwhelming to see that the wedding industry has gone through a little phase, and more than us, I think, of course, we've been affected, but the allied industries have really been affected in the lockdown. We've heard stories about what has happened with maybe a photographer or the artist industry, and yeah, we are sitting and we are hoping that things will revive fast with the vaccinations coming in, things happening. Though I feel that somewhere we were heading towards smaller wedding, like the ticket size of the weddings going smaller day by day. That's the trend we were seeing. Maybe with Corona, what's happened is we've gone into a little fast forward motion, and India has seen that how in a smaller ticket size also weddings can happen. And I think the parents are in a little fix, while the millenniums and the kids are quite happy because they always wanted close-knit weddings. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
It's breaking, but you are audible.
Okay, I'm so sorry for this. I wanted to be in a better network, but yeah, hopefully we'll get some good news for the industry. So yes.
Yes, hopefully we will get some good news for the industry. So initially, the first couple of months of the lockdown, Zoom weddings, virtual weddings were a big hit. They were in vogue. Bhog. So anybody experienced these, and how did you enjoy it? Did the audience, the guests have a good time, and how did the clients react to it?
The weddings we did were not entirely Zoom. So because we focus on destination weddings in Rajasthan. So the first wedding we did in July was 50 people, and it was really interesting to see what my client had to say. And it was a very interesting phenomenon. Rather, it was only for 15 people, but my client just gave me one thing. He said that, Prerna, my daughter's wedding is not to come back again. So kahin kami na reh jaye. So that the wedding objective became that, nothing should be missing in the wedding because the number of people are less. So that's one takeaway which I had, that for every wedding, their daughter's wedding is happening only once, and they didn't want anything lesser. So while the number of people were less, but per person spend or something went up in our case. Like, I'm talking from my perspective. And then came the time where we did, I think the photographers started offering the service that in their camera, there was a card which came in, and and a Zoom link was sent to everyone, and people could see the weddings sitting at their house. So 100 people were allowed in Rajasthan. So 100 people came in for the wedding, and the rest guests could see the weddings across through on their Zoom.
I think that's still happening. People are still attending weddings through Zoom. I attended a Dubai wedding recently through Zoom. Anybody who actually experienced a virtual wedding where the bride and groom were not together? Because I've heard of these, not that I've experienced. Anybody did? Any of you?
No, I don't think I didn't.
Yeah, we didn't have brides and grooms together. We didn't have to.
Or a virtual wedding where any other kind of a virtual wedding where family is there and the guests are on Zoom.
So I recently attended one of the weddings. It was my friend's wedding. Where, what they did was they actually had a big screen with the wedding season. So at the wedding place, and there was a Zoom setup. Uh, and all the friends, all the close, all the family members were invited on that. So they could, and there were cameras also. There were 3, 4 cameras who were fitted at a strategic places so that people can enjoy the entire event. So that is also, one of the industry. I'm not sure, but that is also one of this industry that has come up, where people also give a add-on service of Zoom wedding. You can also have a live wedding going on alongside. But the experience was really good. It was really fun. People were, chatting on the sideways as well, sharing stories, etc. Uh, Also, if people were speaking as well, there were speakers as well. If anybody wants to speak, etc. So the experience was good. It was about 30, 40 members who attended through Zoom.
So here the photographer, the videographer's budget's going up. They're giving extra services. Gunja and Chetan, any experience on virtual weddings?
No, I haven't experienced, and to be honest, I have not done a lot of virtual sessions also, because I feel that when you meet people, when you
Okay,
talk,
Chetan, have you experienced? What are you waiting?
So I think there's a connection issue. Gunjan, you were saying something. You want to continue?
No, I'm done, Chetan. Please go on.
So I think for us, we had a few queries, but I think when you seek advice from a set of planners, we will always tell you to wait for a few months so we can make more money. And I think that's what happened. So we went back and told our people that don't do it. Wait for another few months, let things get better, and we will do some on-ground weddings. So we had stuff that was being spoken of, but we asked them to hold out till after October. The weather was better. We knew we would be allowed 100 people plus, and exactly what Prerna said earlier, we went back and did that. So we've seen that. Also, I think it's to do with culture. a lot of our Indian culture is that jab tak aap khatirdari nahi karoge, till you don't feed your guests and you don't host them, I think there's a certain sense of an inadequacy that sets in. So that's a big part. So I don't think people wanted to do that. We've done a lot of weddings, and all our weddings have gone onto platforms. So we've used platforms where people have created specially for social events. We've used some of those. We've used a lot of Zoom weddings where the weddings happen for only 25, 30 people, and then they've got up and come to a particular platform, and you had over 200 people, 500 people, all of these guys who from across the world, and it's been fun to see people who the bride or the groom went to college with in the US or Australia or UK, were getting up in their time zones of 3 in the morning and 5 in the morning and popping champagne and raising a toast to the couple who just got married on India time. So yeah, I think it's been fun. It was, the human species will always find a way to survive, and we realized that was the best anyone could have done at that point of time, and we did that. There was one instance when we were doing a wedding for people, and there was a core group of family members it was too risky for them to travel, and they couldn't come to travel to this particular destination. So while the wedding dinner was on, we had arranged for the same menu from the Taj group to be served to them at the same time. So when the Sajan Gode was happening for the couple and the family, their grandparents in different cities were being served the same food, by the Taj hospitality team and our team that went out and did that. So you always find a way around to as human as possible. But I don't think Zoom weddings are the way forward, and none of, at least I wouldn't want to continue the digital platform. For that, I think what you can do on a live event is a very different experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think a lot more corporates are comfortable on the virtual platform, but weddings no. Uh, Very important question. What are the big challenges that wedding planners are facing? Gunjan, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, definitely. So it is challenging because see, we were used to in India, especially we were used to a certain big number of weddings, and we used to charge accordingly. So obviously that is one challenge which we are facing, that the numbers have decreased and people are talking about what we used to charge as a fee is suddenly has become the budget of the client. That is one challenge. Second is, of course, we have to take all the safety precautions. It's an added work for us that and for the COVID, and we have to take care. When I did the wedding in Oberoi, all the staff, all the lower class who were coming for the decoration, we had to get all of them COVID tested so they can enter the premises and work. And you can understand it was, we were doing the setup from last 5 days, so you can understand how many people were there. It was almost 200 to 300 people who were working. So we had to get all of them COVID tested. So that was a added job or work for us. So yeah, it is challenging, and as you know, every city has a different the situation keeps changing in every city. So if a client is looking for a destination wedding, they are generally very skeptical, because you never know if the number increases in Rajasthan. Suddenly Rajasthan put a ban for social events or something like the way it has happened in Mumbai recently. So yeah, it is very unpredictable, and the clients are also very jittery, and they are looking for different options. So it is a challenging time.
Okay, I want to come in, Preeti. I think
Yes.
I think one of the things that we faced is on people following rules. And as planners, we've come up with a lot of code protocols, which EMA as we worked on various things for EMA and brought in COVID protocols that we were following for the wedding industry. We've introduced many best practices. We coached various people on our teams and hotels and infrastructure providers. We managed to do all of that. The biggest challenge we faced was guests, because everyone felt that if you've come there, you're not going to get it, and they would not wear their masks. They would sit down and argue with us, saying that if you're not, how do I drink? If I'm going to have to wear a mask, how do I have my drink, or how do I eat my food? So there were various things like that. I think we faced that problem, and we continue to face it, and that's one of the reasons why, unfortunately, we are sitting where we are today, on the brink of yet another crisis. Because the mindset is very, very different. We tend to forget very easily that when there's good music going on, or when there's you've met with a few people. I understand that people haven't hugged each other for the last 8-9 months, and you were desperate to really get out of your homes and come to a hotel. We've all taken our breaks, we've all been out with our families, and that sense of relief of getting out of the home was huge. But there is a huge that. So crowd protocols and maintaining that, I think, was one of the most severe issues that we face. We've had appeal letters going out in our welcome kits, told people that, look, we've got health officials from the government. I know Rajasthan was very particular in the first. We did something in October, which was again very early, and I know we had health officials there in the venue, observing how we were doing it. So ultimately it's also a big risk. You don't want. There was unfortunately a case much later, a few months ago, in Udaipur, where apparently people came with fake RT-PCR tests and they gave fake reports, and there was a huge outbreak, and there were about 50-60 people who got it. So you don't want that. As a planner, you wouldn't want to be branded as being the planner whose wedding has again propelled the virus. So this is a big problem, and it's becoming a very big problem today as well. That's, I think, one of the reasons why the government has also cut down on weddings and cut down on any kind of gatherings. I mean, that's basically the problem.
Yes, we all have faced various problems, guests not following the protocol, and many more. Prerna or Shendra, what are your views? What problems did you face? Prerna, your voice is, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry. So, in terms of making the clients understand that the test is very important, wearing mask is important, because once they're in the event, they want to forget that there is corona outside. So that was there, but I think how we managed is we sent like a docket earlier, like a PDF to all. We asked our clients to send it to all their guests, so they're aware that they have to do this. But yeah, when they're dancing or when they're eating, drinking, there was a challenge to kind of, they were not ready to wear the mask, because, they said that it's close family, it's only our family, and we know from where they're coming, and it's a very close gathering, why should we wear the mask? So these were the challenges. And also we made RT-PCR compulsory for all vendors. And for guests, frankly, for the guests, we left it to the hotel, because the hotel, we followed whatever the hotel norms were. But at least for all vendor partners, we made sure that all tests are done. So convincing the client that this test has to be done, because the cost of the test was to be borne by the client. So why should he bear the cost? And it's in his interest was a challenge.
Absolutely, and the test is not very reasonable. I think it started off at around 2,200 rupees, and then it reduced and reduced.
Yes.
So we're talking about patients. Do you have any experience, any difficulties that you faced?
So I think Chetan, Gunjan, and Prerna would be the right person to answer this, because given we are into the jewelry industry,
Sure.
so event is their forte.
Well, we did face challenges, and everybody has a similar say that weddings was majorly hit. Now, the second wave is around, and what does that mean for the wedding industry? What do you think is the scenario, and how is the future of the wedding industry? Chetan, would you like to start?
So I think it's it is bleak. We've had in the last 3 days we've had a few cancellations that were immediately there. So I think Q1 for those of us who operate from April onwards, that's definitely not a good way to start the year, especially after the last year that we've had. So we were all looking at the worst being over last summer. It hasn't been. I don't think, unfortunately, anyone anticipated a mood like this, given the whole everyone being gung ho about the vaccines coming in. So I think everyone was very happy that the worst was over. We hadn't anticipated that we're going to go through another summer of the same kind of tensions and stuff. So that is the problem that we are facing. The Q1 period definitely looks a lot more looks critical right now. We're hoping the worst passes and there isn't a thing. But yeah, people have got up and realized that they want to move out. The silver lining is that these weddings are going to happen. They are going to happen with us as agencies. There will always be people coming back to us. So I think it's not that it's not that that weddings have been banned forever or things can't happen. It's just that if we behave ourselves, the big fat wedding has to change to the big fit wedding. And if we can change fat to fit, uh, the other downside, honestly, is that like I think Prerna mentioned earlier, was that people don't want to. They've realized that this 50 people, 100 people, 150 people is a great number. You have your fun, you meet your people, you have the best people who really mean something to you, who are there with you. You can spend that extra money. I'm not talking about the spends. I mean, people are willing to go to huge depths of saying that Pele, if you didn't give them clothes today, you can even get up and give them a Sabyasachi voucher and say that go and buy yourself something for it because he's got that money to spend and spoil his guest. But the fact is that we are seeing a change in trend for sure. The size that we were used to, which some of us have built our agencies on, which were 500, 800,000 people, uh, is definitely changing. And that is going to stay forever. I don't think that's going to change. Yes, you will have the one-off Ambanis and one-off industrialists coming back and still doing 1,000 people, but majority, I think the shift is definitely changing to smaller, fitter numbers where you can control it and you can have that. So that gives you a new breath of life for a lot of small hotels, a lot of small places that have 50 rooms, 60 rooms that can cater to 100, people weddings. But at the same time, the bigger hotels are going to suffer. The bigger agencies are going to suffer. We all having to try and reinvent ourselves and try and figure out how to cater to this new demand. So that is there. But with the second wave, let's hope it passes faster than it did last time. With the vaccine and first doses with most people and second doses now on its way, hopefully the worst is over and we break out of it at least by Q2 we should come out of it.
Yeah, I think like Chetan said that earlier if we were making we were having people to do set design. I think the shift will be from set design to experience design, and frankly, personally, I always believed in it because it's very important for the for it to be an experience for the couple. It's about them. It's their wedding. So I always feel that if we are able to create that memory which lasts forever, which is more centric to them and their close family. So I think COVID has taught us that how can it be in smaller numbers? How can we still have that experience for that couple? So that's one thing personally I feel has changed. And of course, the second wave, like you mentioned, has come in. And the only thing we can wait and watch and say that, vaccines are on the way. And as soon as we get more and more people get vaccinated, things will go back to normal. So I think one more discussion which is going around is that we should all push everyone to go out and get vaccinated. So that drive has to be there, because people are still waiting and watching. Okay, ye lagwa lega to main lagwa lungi. So we should get out of that mindset, and every one of us should say, let's get vaccinated, so that the government has a chance to open the industries. It's not only our industry, frankly, a lot of industries are in this situation. And while I know we are of course we're concerned about our industry, everyone else is also quite in the same boat. And the only way to solve the situation is that all of us have a vaccination drive, and at least however many ever people we can influence, get them vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
last
also,
question.
yeah.
Gunjan, please go ahead.
So I also feel that we all should get vaccinated, so that the fear of getting COVID would reduce. And as per the industry, I think the next season is gonna be very, very, because the weddings which has been postponed, or the weddings which has not happened, and people would also like to celebrate after all this is gone. So I think October onwards, we people are gonna be very busy.
Yes.
I want to come in here. I don't think, unfortunately, it's going to end with just being vaccinated. I think there has to be a huge buy-in on consciousness from people, because even after the vaccine, I know of some cases, there might be stray cases, but I know cases where people have got it after the first or the second dose as well. That's only because you're being careless, and this is going to change. I've said this in another forum before. Some of us, unfortunately or fortunately, because we're here today, we were doing events that night in Bombay on the 26/11 when the attacks happened, and we managed to get out. We managed to live to tell these tales. But the fact is that one act changed how you would ever go into a hotel ever again. Before that, you could drive into a hotel. They were very welcoming. The guy would open the door. From the gate man, everybody would say salam saab, salam mem saab, and you could go inside. That changed forever. With that attack, it changed. You are now treated like a suspect. You cannot walk into an airport. You cannot walk into that. I think masks are here to stay. It is going to be second skin to us. We don't have a choice. For the next many years to come, there are going to be things like these protocols that are going to stay. And if we are gonna be idiotic about it and get up and say that, oh, it doesn't matter. It's not. This is a virus that commands you to respect. It is not something. It's been, there may be different story of whether it's man-made or if it's natural, but the fact is that this is a virus that demands you to respect what you do. So the only thing we do is to cover our noses, cover our mouths, keep social distancing. So you might have the vaccine. It might have to be done every year, every 2 years, whatever the reinforcements the medical science tells you. But the fact is that we have to understand that there are going to be protocols that will follow. So that is going to change at least the social industry for a long, long time to come. And these are things we just have to live and learn. And it is there. So I just want to add that one point, that there are many things that will change henceforth. I don't think we are going back to what we saw with weddings till before this virus hit, before the first lockdown.
We all are facing problems, and there's no end to how we can express what difficulties we are facing. I would want you to throw some light upon not just the owners of the company, not just the client or dulha or dulhan. What is the scenario of these employees that work in the wedding industry, and how can we help them? What can be done? Chetan, I think you must have faced all of this.
So yeah, so I'll tell you. See, the wedding industry is not just determined by people like us, who sit in metros or capital cities and work out of big brands. There's a huge employment that goes in. There are artisans who sit. I mean, a lot of it that we do is we bring in musicians from Rajasthan, or artisans from Bengal, there are various arts and crafts that come in. Unfortunately, they are the biggest sufferers in this entire pandemic that is hit, because we still got back, we still got up and said that, okay, some of us have our reserves, some of us have our banks, we can all survive. Have got each other, we've got social media platform. The kind of stories I've heard, the kind of phone calls I've got back from just really that level of artists and artisans and people who work in our warehouses, who've gone back home, who've called back and said that I don't have money to feed my children. I don't have, can you give me enough money to just buy enough food to put them in? I'm not asking for a loan. I just want something. And these are people you hugely respect, because when you put them on stage and their talent comes out, they are the ones that make the wow in our weddings. That's what everybody gets back and says, oh, you're a friend. We are nobody. We are just curators. We only understand, okay, these are 5 great guys. We'll put them on stage. We'll get Preeti to come in and be the MC, and we will get everyone to put out a great event. But we don't understand that when these things happen, they are the ones that are ignored. They're forgotten. Until I got those phone calls, until I got those messages, I hadn't thought about it. All I was frustrated about was not being able to leave my home, not be able to get out and get to office, or what is going to happen to my business. So that's the big issue that I think we really, there are a lot of small people who are dependent on us. Every wedding, I don't think there's a single agency in my knowing that does everything from pin to aeroplane on their own. We are all curators and we all depend on multiple service providers. So these are these people who really suffer. I think that's the big the big drain from the pandemic that's really happened.
It's not just us, it's the people who make this wedding possible. I mean, this topic is so difficult for us to face, especially for somebody like me who is a freelancer, and when weddings are not happening, I have no other thing to do. So I can understand how these small artists, or like a chudi maker or a mehndi wali who was working at weddings, what would she be going through? Gunjan, what do you think we can do for these people?
See, to be honest with you, with people I have worked closely, I have tried to help them however I could. More than that, I don't know what we can do. I think IMA is doing a great job. They are helping people. They are trying to create some kind of a platform for them to, sustain themselves. But other than that, see, even we are trying to survive. We also do not have that kind of a resources in this industry that we can actually create something for them. So I think we just have to stick with each other, and people whom we know, at least with whom we have worked, if they are getting into trouble, at least we can help them. So if we always look after the people which we know, at least some sort of some groups would be helped with that. So I have done that. I have helped my people with whom I've worked, and if they have called me and they've asked me for the help, and even I've called them and asked them, if you have any problem, you can call me. I will try to help you out. If we do that, then probably we'll be able to survive this.
So IMA as a body also, I think Predna's fallen off the call, but I think IMA as a body has also put together committees and panels that have looked into it. So there was an artist panel that was put out. They reached out to people. So there has been. So we have contributed. I think the association has contributed to people and helped support them. There are great helplines that have started. There is an employee helpline. There is an employee. There's actually a something called We Care that goes beyond just certain problems, but everybody to talk about it. We realized that it was playing on the psychological health of various people. Agencies that had unfortunately had to shut down, their employees were getting very, very stressed out. So I think the association really came together, and we've all taken on our respective roles of corporate social responsibilities, and have tried to stand by everybody who helps us stand at an event. So we've tried to be there. It's a very, very deep hole. and we'll continue trying to be there for everyone. So yeah, I mean, the only way out of this is to stand by each other, but with social distancing.
And with social distance.
That's a good one, Chetan.
Ishendra, we're talking about employees or people working at a smaller level. Yeah.
So
So
especially,
what would you like to add to this?
yes. So even in our industry, as Chetan and Gunjan mentioned, there are small karigars, small artisans, who were working at a ground level uh, to execute stuffs. They were the one who were severely affected because these are the people who literally work on their daily wages. Whatever they earn is, just enough or slightly more than enough to feed, their family for a short duration. So they were really very much affected. Uh, and what we as a effort were trying to do is, before COVID, a lot of our jewelry was also coming from different countries like Korea, Italy, Turkey, multiple other parts of the world. But post COVID, we have also shifted our manufacturing base to India, where now we have tried our best to employ these karigars from Surat, Jaipur, Kolkata, as much as we can do, so that they at least have some work and their daily works have not gone, because you know uh, the offline industry has taken a drastic hit, because of which the demand has gone. But online somehow has been able to manage the demand, and we now, with our Prime Minister Modi's vision of Make in India, have shifted our entire manufacturing to India, so that we can support these people in whatever way we could.
That's wonderful. We are giving employment opportunities to these people, and instead of importing, we are producing right here. Something good that has come out of
I think
this.
also, I think also everybody who's not had the opportunity to go out and do weddings in the Florences and the Portugals and the Maldives of the world have ended up coming to Ishendra and buying his jewelry. So I think he's been the single most celebrated business owner in the field. I think that's a good way to be, right? We wouldn't mind being in your shoes.
I mean, yeah. So we as a brand, try and bring all the best in class, finest designs to India. Anyone who wants to experience that, feel free. Please visit Jiva.
We need to talk offline, buddy.
Definitely, Chetan.
And I think our viewers will also connect to you, Ishendra. You're going to get a lot of clients from this session itself, a lot of our viewers. So we were talking about these ground level workers, and definitely we all are doing as much as we can. But our clients, the wedding family, are the ones who give us the money, and that is how we can pay our employees or these artists. So any of you has experienced a client booking a wedding probably for end of this year or next year and giving you a good amount of advance which you can pay to your employees? Has this scenario been there for any of you?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Well, so weddings get booked way in advance. And given the scenario, it's so dicey. At any moment, there's a lockdown, there's a curfew. So is the client comfortable giving you an advance for maybe a December wedding or a January 2022 wedding?
Yeah, definitely. We do take advance in. There is no problem at all. They are okay with it, because once they decide on the planner, whether they are doing the wedding in December or January or February, or if they are doing the wedding in India or abroad, at least one thing is confirmed, that they're we are their planner. So we work with them. We help them in shift the location, or help them to work on it. But client has no problem giving the advance.
I think that's a very good news, that at least we can get some money in for a future wedding, and we can be paying our employees. Chetan, has it been easy for you to book future weddings, or the client is dicey कि अरे कभी भी lockdown हो जाएगा, एक साल रुक के फिर देखते हैं?
See, the wedding business is, for us, is a very personal driven, relationship driven business. Most of our clients are repeats or people who come through references, celebrities, that level of people. So it's a very deep intrinsic relationship that we need. We don't push for an advance if we know that something is dicey. So I've held back advances for people, knowing very clearly. So I said, look, the dates are blocked for you, the hotels are blocked for you, everything's blocked for you, but you don't need to really pay right now because we don't know what's happening and we don't want you to waste your money. So it's better in your bank than it's in my bank. If it's in my bank, it goes out to all kinds of unnecessary things, and then you end up scrambling and trying to figure out where you're going to get the money to because you've blown it up in the. So for us, our business philosophies are very different. We don't work on that pretext. We work on a very deep intrinsic relationship with our clients, and that's good. That's a good part. But I have to tell you, to answer your question particularly, the availability of funds, the number of clients who called me during the pandemic to say that, are your teams okay? Are you guys all right? Would you like some money? Because they are all industrialists. They are all very, very big people, 100, 200, 300 times bigger than what we are. And they've all extended support at some point in time. Whether we needed it or not is a different thing. But they have come back to us and asked us, saying that, look, so it's a relationship. You become a part of their family. You're not just somebody or a contractor that they've hired and fired or whatever. So it's a very deep intrinsic relationship. So if they come to me and ask me which hotel to go to, which jeweler to go to, which caterer to go to, which MC to hire, I think they really trust us and our judgment on that. So I think that's been it. But our philosophies are a little different. We've actually held people back and said we'll pay. So we did something very recently where, again, there was a little stress about it. So we introduced the COVID clause in contracts. It took us a few weeks actually to get the hotel to agree, and we fought it with the highest authority in their legal chain to say that no, we want it to, because we want to make sure that our clients are safe. Even today, I'm doing an event next month in Goa, and again, the contracting is not done by us, but we made sure that that clause was mentioned in the contract by the agency that had done the contracting with them, or the travel agency that had done it. So the idea is that you have to secure your client and protect them at every point. And that's how relationships get built.
Well, yes, relationship building definitely requires you to not extract the money out of them just to keep it with yourself. But this is an idea that has been floating around. If we get advances from our future projects and pay the employees, because a lot of employees have been laid off, people are getting 50% of their salaries. So do you think this is the solution? Chetan, the question for you.
I think salary cuts are, it's all about being realistic today. Understand that none of us as agencies are operating in the fees and the fee structures and the kind of profit margins that we were working on earlier. We've seen a 50% plus cut in our own fee structure that we've charged clients in the past. Now that will permeate down to everybody, right? It's not that. Plus, if you did 50 big weddings in the past year, it's come down to 15. So there's even a revenue slice that's been taken away from you. So it's very unfair for even, and thankfully we've got a great team. The team that stuck by us understood that if we survive and the company survives, there will be a tomorrow. The earth is going to turn, the seasons are going to change. The virus will hopefully come under control. There will be a new tomorrow. The sun will set. The sun will rise again, and there will again be weddings. But we need to be there for that. What is the point? And I've known people who got up and said, no, it doesn't matter. We will think. So there are people who left organizations, or there are organizations that are shut down. But the fact is they're not there today. And it's very difficult to be out of the market for a year and a half, 2 years and come back. You've lost your market standing. You've lost your market share. It's not really worth it. So I think everyone has to be very practical. The proprietors and the owners and the directors of the companies have to be practical and say that, okay, we can't afford to look at the kind of profit margins we've got. And employees and suppliers and everybody else looks. I've seen rates being cut with hotels. I've seen rates being cut with suppliers. I've seen MCs like you who come back and said, okay, we'll do it at one, half our fee of what we did last time. So it's about everybody being realistic and balancing the entire curve out.
Yes, it is about being realistic, and we have to deal with what is.
Gunjan gets paid in dollars, so it doesn't matter to her. But those of us who get paid in Indian rupees is the big problem. She gets paid in euros.
I'm not getting paid in dollars now.
Euros, sorry, euros.
Now I'm not getting paid in euros.
I think Preeti's got a network issue.
I think so.
Yes, I think Preeti has got some network issues. So yeah, we are always almost towards our closing time. I would like my panelists to give your remarks. But Mr. Vora, we'll start with you.
Hi, am I audible? I think my video was stuck.
Yes, Preeti, I've just asked our panelists to sum up the session and give us their closing remarks. We can start with Mr. Vora.
I had one last question before we close this and have closing remarks, is that we discussed problems that we faced, but now, and the main topic that problem that we faced is that even though weddings are happening, the guests do not follow the protocol. And I attended another session where people discussed that airlines are flying and everybody is there, but they are following protocol. They're wearing their mask. They are doing what is needed. So how can we make this stricter in the wedding industry? This is my last question to you all.
See, the airlines are different, and events and especially weddings is a very different scenario. People are in a different mood altogether, in a different mood when they are coming to a wedding, and you cannot be strict with them. You can politely suggest, but you cannot put like in airlines, when you go, they are like very particular. You have to wear it. But in a social gathering, you cannot be so, how to put it, strict with them, or tell them that you have to do it or you won't be able to attend the wedding. But I think the wedding I have done, people were very responsible. They all were wearing masks. They were maintaining the social distancing. And my client made sure that everybody was tested before. And hotel also, like we worked in Oberoi, and Oberoi is also very strict with their rules and regulations, and nobody was allowed outside. It was a residential wedding, so everybody was staying there for 3 nights, and it was a safe environment. So it all depends the kind of environment or the kind of people you are with. Maybe Chetan would be able to give a better answer to it, because I have not experienced it.
Chetan, what do you think?
So I think that hospitality, when it's not done right, comes with a lot of hostility, and guests become very, very irate. Arey, tumne ye kaise bol diya? I faced this. I've had people who come back and said, "Why are you asking me to wear a mask?" So we did something at a wedding once. We had the COVID police. So we had got these 4 guys who were just walking around telling people to wear masks, and people got irritated. So we said, look, you understand that this is it. So I think, unfortunately, with weddings, you can't show them the danda. You can't show them a scale and say, okay, you need to behave yourself. So airlines and stuff are different. I think we are unfortunately bullied by the whims and fancies of, number one, the guests, and number two, the host is sitting, with his hands folded to say, "Arey, my guests have to be looked after." So we put them as a demigod status, and that becomes a problem. So this is not beyond, this has got nothing to do with hospitality. It's got nothing to do with the event industry, the wedding industry. It's got to do with what kind of a human being are you? Are you respecting the rules? Are you not respecting the rules? So that's about you. You have to understand it's your own health, the health and safety of your own family members. You survive, you will be there tomorrow. You're being foolish, you will unfortunately perish, and then there's going to be no tomorrow. There's going to be no more no more live streaming of things like that, because you're not around. So I think it's to do with people. I don't think we have an answer. We've tried everything we could have. Now it's literally with folded hands, and yeah, I mean, it's, we had it, we lost it, and we've got to re-find it. That's the only thing.
Well, I think hope is all that we have, and we can just look forward to a bright future. What are your closing remarks for the session? What do you think our audience should take away from this session in one sentence? Gunjan, would you like to say something?
Okay. I think just hang in there. Things will improve, and hopefully we will be back with the new season and new. That's it.
Hope, yes, that is the word. Chetan, what would you like?
I would say respect the fact, respect protocol, respect the COVID policies that hotels or event planners or wedding planners put out. It's for everybody's, for their own, for your good. So respect that, and also respect the virus. Let's give it that little due, because if you don't respect it and it does get angry on you, it can create a lot of problems. So I think respect is a very important word in my dictionary at this point of time, that we all have to respect everything that's going around us.
Well, yes, we all need to be careful. We all need to follow social distancing. Do we have Ishendra or Prerna with us? I think we both have left the session. However, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this gave you a lot of clarity on how the wedding industry is suffering, and we need to all be together but socially distanced. And with hope, I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this session. Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you, Chetan. And Ishendra and Prerna, if you're around, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Preeti, and our speakers for taking us through the wedding industry scenario in the country and sharing your valuable insights with us. Now, quickly, we move on to our next panel for the day. The topic of this panel is Mic Check on Virtual Platform, Real Stories from the Top MC. I now would like to welcome on screen Ms. Prisha B, Ms. Bhavna Bhatia, Mr. A.K. Rahman, Ms. Khyati Kawa, and yes, Preeti Khatwal.
Nama.
Over to you, A.K.
Hi, thank you very much, Nama. And hi, guys. My name is A.K. Rahman. It's such a pleasure to join in on a panel discussion with my colleagues. I've got the super talented Prisha. Hi, Prisha. How are you doing?
Hi, my friend. How are you?
Very well, very well. Don't you get tired doing events every single day, 3 days, 3 events a day?
Yeah, Rahman. If only I could go back, if only I could actually have your life. Let me put it that way.
Everybody talks about that. We've got Bhavna Bhatia. You know, the best thing about Bhavna Bhatia is दुनिया में कहीं पे भी conference हो, speaker आए नहीं आए, Bhavna Bhatia वहाँ पे पहुँच जाती है. Bhavna, so good to see you.
So good to see you, AK, and I love the virtual backdrop, what you've done, AKR, which is AKR show, I believe, right?
Well, it is. But, thank you so much. And how's it been with you?
Very good, yeah, AK. I'm super excited, and I believe we couldn't have had a better topic to actually dwell into. So I'm looking forward with all the wonderful people on the screen. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look at Khyati. Khyati looks like abhi wo Maldives ke beach se wo swim karke bahar aayi hai. So how are you doing, Khyati?
Thank you, AK, and hello, lovely ladies. I am sorry, I am actually just getting ready for my show tonight. God's grace, I am in Hyderabad. And
Wonderful,
Look at
wonderful.
this, look at this. We guys are doing a panel discussion, and there is Khyati, who's all set, getting ready. Bal Banari, she's getting on to the show. Oh boy. I mean, can somebody get luckier than this?
no, but we all the guests have been tested negative. Only then the event is happening. So we're taking care of the protocol. And I'm really excited to be with all of you. And AK, looking lovely.
So much. Thank you so much. We've got Preeti Katpal. कोई भी event हो, corporate हो, weddings हो, यहाँ पे हो, वहाँ पे हो, जहाँ पे भी हो, Preeti Katpal.
Well, AK, I like the energy and enthusiasm that you brought to this session. The previous few sessions, we've been talking about problems and how the industry is suffering. But I just love this enthusiasm that you're bringing in here and that you do on stage.
Thank you so much. That's really nice. How you been? Doing well?
Well, virtual, it is. Virtual life.
Yeah, virtual is the way to be. That's the new normal, which is kind of, got into our system, and we've been doing this day in and day out. Not everybody is as lucky as Khyati कि वो हर जगह shows मिल जाए. हमारे भी मिले थे अभी. मेरे तो कम से कम 4-5 shows वैसे ही cancel हो गए. उन्होंने कहा भाई नहीं COVID के नए relapse के बाद it's did you face that?
Yes, I did. I had actually, like 3-4 live events that were supposed to take place this month. But I also think that my shows were going to take place in Mumbai. And that's what makes a difference between what Khyati is doing, because she's in Hyderabad. They have a totally different set of protocols and set rules over there. And we all know that Maharashtra right now is very, very hard hit. And while I completely do understand that the industry is hit very badly, we all are, and we feel this a lot for ourselves, our peers especially, there is something that safety comes first.
Absolutely, absolutely. Khyati, what do you think of it?
Absolutely, I totally agree with Freesia. In fact, 2 days prior, we were still waiting that in case there is a nationwide lockdown, then we may have to cancel the event. The ticket were waiting for the right guidelines to be put out for us to know whether we can travel. Is it safe to travel? If all the 450 guests that are here are all tested negative, everybody had to send in their reports and all of it. So there was a lot of protocol that was taken into account before planning the event. So I'm really glad that
450 people.
Yeah.
Yes, with a capacity of 1,000 in the venue. So
no,
yes,
don't cover that up. You're covering it up. You're 450.
I'm not. I don't need to. I'm not the organizer. But yeah, they are taking all the precautions, and I'm hoping for a very good show tonight.
Super. All the very best. And Bhavna, did you get your shows cancelled? And is there been a lot of कि boss नहीं यार COVID आ गया, and then we're not going to do this. We're just going to stick to virtual. Is that something which you've been facing?
So AK, I mean, मेरे तो काफी, the kind of shows which I do are, of course, like, you talk about Indian as well as global. So definitely I had a few inquiries when it came from Dubai as well. So we had a session, which was an event which was to happen from the Indian delegates going to Dubai, and one was supposed to be a Bahrain ministry event. So both of them, of course, have been postponed to an endless date. Now, what happens in that case is the problem is what we face as artists, what at least I can tell from my experience is that if the date was blocked, let's say for 20th April, okay, I have said no to other virtual events during that time, right? So, you kind of, at this time, you can't really do much, because the dates are getting postponed. You can't really help it. But at the same time, it's just like, you're hoping that the industry recoups. Because it's not just for me, you, AK, Freesia, Khyati or Preeti. I'm sure it's all the other anchors and the artists as well. Anchors, luckily, we as anchors are still getting work. When we talk about dancers, singers and everybody else who would thrive on a virtual, on a live format, of course, things are a little different for them. But
actually,
it's all, even in global AK, things are going a little crazy. Like Dubai initially was fine because I have a lot of events in that global market there. So, but now, of course, even they are resorting to virtual.
Actually, because I did a physical event in Dubai recently, and then after that, things have changed completely. I guess that was my last good day on stage, so it was nice. But then afterwards, coming back to India, we had to do a quarantine, and things are getting difficult. So yes, Preeti, did any of your show by chance get cancelled?
See, very few corporates for me are doing events. Since November, since events started post-COVID, I did very few corporates, but weddings, yes. All my Muhurat dates were booked and are, but unfortunately, a lot of these clients backed out on the last minute. Two of my clients had corona in their family. Dulha dulhan ko ho gaya corona and they had to cancel the wedding. There was no way out. So my major problem was that it's a wedding event and it's a wedding ka Muhurat. So the Indian industry really follows Muhurat pe shadi karni hai. However, if I had 3 weddings on that particular day, but I booked the wedding or wo wedding last minute pe cancel ho gaye because of corona, I cannot do anything about it. So this
I like
is
the
what
way you say corona, yaar. Corona, pyar. It's like, I like the way. But then, yaar,
like, you are bringing a light-hearted energy to this
no, but
difficult.
on a serious note, since I've hosted a few weddings as well, nobody follows the guidelines when it comes to weddings, because it's very offensive to tell someone like Chetan Vora also was telling that. Yeah. So nobody follows the guidelines. It's something like ये तो पूरा खानदान वाले हैं, दोस्त हैं, and I don't think anybody is affected. So I guess we take it very lightly.
But I think you brought up a very interesting point over here. What we've realized is that as MCs, we are facing this problem of, okay, it's getting cancelled.
Right.
And this is something, so once in a while it would happen in like a pre-corona age as well, right? Something's happen and event gets cancelled. What are we also supposed to now do in a situation like this, where I think the frequency of it is also a lot more? I think a lot of the other MCs that have tuned in as well, maybe they would like to also just hear about how others are dealing with it. Like in my case, I'll start and given as an example. Luckily, I had received a signing amount. I had received a date blocking amount. So I have that amount. Honestly, if things go really bad and the situation is very bad, I will return that amount because it just does then not, it feels very, I don't know. At least for this point, it feels like I should return it. Otherwise, maybe I wouldn't have.
That's really nice of you, Prisha, because I don't think too many people would do that because, it's a situation where everybody's hunting for work. And what I've heard from our contemporaries is there's very little work. And if there is work, it comes at a rate which is much lesser than what we all charge. It's much lesser than that. So, मेरे ख्याल से हर एक बंदे को यही है कि boss, now things are getting from bad to worse and there's a lot of uncertainty around there. So I guess what you've done is not too many. Bhavna, have you returned the money back at any point?
No. The point is not about returning the money. I want to know is that what are the different ways and everybody's dealing with it, because that way we can share tips with other MCs.
Absolutely. This was just a fun way to get to that point. That was the point which I was coming to. Anyways, Bhavna.
Absolutely. No, so of course, what has happened in my case is they have, to block our dates, there is a token amount or whatever, 50% of our fees, which gets transferred. Now, at this time, I don't end up in returning because these events are getting postponed. So it just gets up being adjusted.
Yeah.
And that's a way of putting it.
Exactly.
Apart from that, what I do is, there was an event of mine which got postponed, due to the prime minister of a country, let's say, not being available. And luckily, so what I do is I keep a note of all the inquiries which are coming to me, AK, very frankly. And if in case, worst case, my event gets postponed, I reach out to the event client who had asked me that, listen, do you still have the option of the MC for me? If they say yes, by now the client has not blocked, I said, now I'm available because see, honestly, at this time, nothing can be done and I cannot sit on an empty date.
Actually.
That's a wonderful suggestion.
So what I have been doing is that in case if I get an inquiry which was coinciding, that's when I take a note of it and I get back to the event agency of mine saying that if in case the MC is not finalized, I am available. And right now everyone understands that event dates are getting postponed. So I feel MCs should reach out to the event clients in case their dates are getting a little bit fluctuative. So that's a proactive measure. If anyone takes, I think it'll just help them right now.
Kathy, you want to add on to it?
Absolutely. And I agree to what Frisha and Bhavna both said. What I would like to add on is to have a little empathy with the client and agencies as well. It's not something they are doing out of vengeance. You know, they are also as helpless as we are. So I think starting out with empathy can help you in a long run, like be understanding towards their situation. And like Bhavna said, if you have another query, get back to them. If you've taken the token amount, adjust it to the next available date. And also, I think we all are looking for work. So if there is a collision of dates, then go ahead and pass that work to your friends, to the colleagues that you know, and help out a friend there. I think that's one way to go.
Fantastic. Very well said, Krati. Preeti.
All of these people covered the points, but yes, relationship building is the most important thing in our industry. Once you take the advance, obviously you do not return it, but you're going to work with the same client again. The wedding is postponed, or the event agency is going to hire you again. Definitely you adjust that, but you are taking the hit as well. We earn pretty well, but that doesn't mean we don't have our bills. We have our loans to pay, and it's a difficult situation.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, now let's get to this complete different platform where we are actually now accustomed to. So virtual space. How has it changed our lives?
Oh. Who do you want to go with? There's so much that has changed.
Go on. Tell us. How has this changed our lives?
Whatever they're wearing. This is number one. Virtual one.
I think I did my first 3 shows like that. I wore my jacket and the top, and then I had my shorts or my pajamas down at the bottom. But I guess all human beings, right? Whenever we're put in a difficult situation, human beings are just designed in such a way that we rise to the occasion, right? Yeah. We adapt, we adopt, we try and figure other ways to kind of move with the times. And I think that is a sign of just the kind of resilience and grit that we all have as in the profession that we are in. We have to have that much resilience and grit to do what it is that we do. So I think Rahman, you were actually one of the ones that really, you lead in innovation. And I genuinely mean this, you're very clever at adapting things, changing things. So I think that's basically what we all had to do. We had to find out what it was that was like our sweet spot and how we could capitalize on that. But for me also, what I did do is it meant that I got time to restart my YouTube channel. I got space to kind of work on my Instagram and work with brands over there. So other than also innovating myself, I also looked for other revenue avenues and other avenues to just stay sane.
Absolutely. Correct. So how did it, how did this change your life, Kathy? You want to add on to this?
Yeah, I think we used to get so busy doing events and traveling that some of the passions that you've had, you didn't get time to really, indulge in. So this time really gave me time to, innovate in art, try a lot of different things, and, connect with my family a lot more than I was doing earlier. And that's when you realize that you were not doing it earlier. You were taking it for granted and not spending as much time as you should have. But also, I think with events, I think it's become a lot more intimate because you're so close to the screen and you're so close to the people. You're almost seeing what is in their house. So, the event itself became a very intimate affair where you could basically, speak to them on a very personal level instead of on a very massy level where you'd be on stage far away from them and you're just, making a one-way communication. So I think that way it has changed a lot. My mindset,
I guess it's still one way. Sometimes it's very, it's totally one way because half the time it's not always that you're on a Zoom platform where you get to see the other people. Client बोलता है कि बस ये कर लो. Imagine आपके 1000 लोग आपको देख रहे हैं. आप imagine कर लेना. So
I know. I mean, yeah, enthusing yourself is one of the challenges of virtual events. But at the same time, there are a lot of platforms that gives you the option of they'd send out the emoticons, they'll send out comments. And I also realized that sometimes these engagements were way higher than live events. The shy ones could also just sit on the computer and chat and, say things, which was quite different for me. And yeah.
Bhavna.
Firstly,
You've been speaking with the most intelligent minds of the world. So you're a different species altogether, because jitna aapki dimag mein, I guess there are very few anchors, MCs in the industry who've got so much of intellect here. So whenever I speak with you, I think you've got great intellect. Tell us about it.
thank you so much, AK. I mean, firstly, I have to compliment you. One thing is the way you're conducting it. Everyone's smiling on the screen, so that's one thing which is kudos to you on that. The energy which you're bringing in. So, AK, one thing which the virtual events, honestly, when this entire thing happened that it's going to be all virtual, I had to start thinking of new ways of revenue generation. To be very frank, I think that was the first thought came apart from evolution, and of course, creating your own setup, having a light studio, the home studio concept. So we really had to invest with the lights, the microphone, the background, and all of that. But apart from that, AK, I think the first thing I started delving into was what next. Because apart from collaborations, like I've been speaking to a lot of marketing heads across different industries, they all were talking about collaboration. So I thought that why not as MCs? Now we are our own brands, we are our own company. It's actually devising your own company in a way, right? So why not collaborate? So I had to look out for options, the best ways to collaborate. Of course, initially that was not possible. So creating your own work was, right? Creating your own content. But second, then I did see that, yes, apart from collaborations, you have to be out there telling what you need. Now, I remember AK seeing your shows, right? You were doing the Tambola. Meanwhile, you were also doing your corporate. As an MC, you need to have something wherein you have your 100% say, right? Some content which you own, which I'm sure Frisha is doing wonderful in, right? She has her own content on that. Khyati did her own series, Preeti did her own, right? So everyone was doing some of the other work of theirs. I think that's something which I believe even when life comes in, because I'm sure eventually it will, I think we all should still focus on that, because maybe 10 years down the line, we all would want something which we have 100% control in, right? Wherein you can just choose AK probably sitting in Maldives, doing your own content, right? I mean, I'm just, that's something which I never thought initially. I used to always have it in the back of the mind that I'll have these series, I'll do this, that, but I never thought it was necessary. But I think during COVID, it taught me so much that no, you need to have your own thing. So I think that was one of my biggest evolution phases, apart from managing everything. Because
Fantastic. Brilliant, Bhavna. That's very nice. It's always nice to collaborate. Think about what's your strong point, where do you really, excel, and that's where you kind of, diversify. Preeti, aap bataएं?
For me, even I tried doing something new. I've used my social media. I've become a blogger, and I have various brands from cosmetics to restaurants who are promoting their business on my Instagram. So that's something I'm really enjoying. It isn't paying as well, but I have hope for the future that I could become a big blogger, and this could pay me well, at least as much as I make as an MC. Virtual events, yes, I have enjoyed the virtual space. I felt like I'm a TV host. Even if the audience was not interacting, reacting to what I'm saying, I would always ask them, are you enjoying? And I would just assume they are enjoying, like a TV host or a VJ. So it's been good for me. I'm missing stage. I'm terribly missing dressing up and being out there, getting in the audience, interacting with them. And I'm living with hope that we're going to
Fantastic. Living with hope and innovating. That's exactly what we're doing. I like the way Frisha said, because मैं खाली jacket पहन के बैठती हूँ and nobody knows what I'm wearing otherwise. So I guess we all are doing that. But
I'm so happy I don't have to wear stiletto.
Oh God! I have to share this. The moment there was like one small, on-ground event, and I had to wear heels, and I had lost the habit of wearing heels for a year. It was so difficult to manage. My feet were giving up like really soon. And I'm like, if events start, I have to really get used to this again.
Trust me, we all are going through that. And, we've just settled very conveniently in our comfort zone. But innovation is what virtual space is demanding. And I guess I have to tell you this story that I and Suman, my friend, my best friend, and my colleague, we've devised this virtual live Tambola. It's been a massive hit. Initially it's the regular tambola jo number ke saath khelte hain, and everybody's they know what tambola is, but we've added a whole lot of elements in that. We've added the motivational element to that, we've got the entertainment element to that, we've got the values entertainment to that, and the chemistry which I and Suman share is like impeccable. So what happens is we make people from 500 to 5 lakh people play at the same time wherever they're sitting. All they have to do is they just need to look at the screen, and a chat message ka chat box ka jahan pe bhi hai, you'll have to message as and when we kind of ask that. So that has been a massive hit. That has been a great revenue generator. Plus, it's a very innovative thing, and plus we are devising a whole lot of things now. What we've done is innovation. We've started collaborating, like all of you have been talking about it. We've collaborated with wedding planners, we've collaborated with corporate houses, and we've added their element into this, and nobody's even like thought about it. Abhi tak kisi ne crack nahi kiya hai ki boss ye hota kaise. So that's Suman's brainchild. So Suman, wherever you are, if you're watching, so that's really nice, and so we all have innovated somewhere. So Frisha, what is your innovation? How have you tried to make virtual events more interesting? Aapki innovation, what have you brought to the table?
So one of the biggest things is, all the clients, and I know that all of you are going to completely relate with this, where they will say, just make sure it's fun, yeah. Just make sure the audience is having a damn good time. So you'll be like, okay, yeah, of course, that is my job. And then I'll be like, theek hai, to do you think that I can get them to send some comments? Nay, comments will be disabled. Oh, okay. Can we have like a WhatsApp number where maybe they can send some images and then we can show the images? Nay, usme bahut taam jham ho jayega, and we don't want to do that. So you're like, okay, so now what am I supposed to do? And how am I still supposed to make this entertaining, fun, interactive, but not interact at the same time? So I can see everybody with their heads going, yes, I know exactly what you mean. But within that, I think I've already told you that what are some of the things that we do use as ways to interact with audiences. And if the client is willing and allowing us to put the comments on, telling us that they can put their cameras on, just to see people's faces, just to, sometimes we've even sent like little boxes, or we've sent them instructions before the event and said that we're going to do this theme. Can you have these props with you? And then we work with that. What I think is very important is to have a client that allows you the freedom and the flexibility to work with all of that, because the means are very restricted. There's very limited things that you can do. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm sure everyone who's tuned in also would love to hear some ideas.
I wish somebody could send us messages. Yeah, we'd like to, hear from all our fellow MCs and even event managers. कि आपने अपने virtual event को interesting बनाने के लिए what is the support system which you're giving to the MCs, to the presenters, कि we get much more value on the screen. So guys, please send us your messages. Nama, you can jump in and tell us about it. Yes, Bhavna, आपने क्या innovation लाया?
So basically, AK, I mean, a major portfolio of mine were conferences, honestly, when it came to the virtual space. And for any conference, it is important to keep the sponsors happy, right? So now, how do we get brand presence of a sponsor on a screen when people are viewing, and how do we maximize their brand presence? So of course, there were certain conversations. Pehle ek do conferences zyada we couldn't emphasize on the brand presence because everyone was learning the trick. But post that, there were polls which were created. Post that, there were certain quizzes which were, something which I would conduct, right? So those two elements got added. Apart from that, there were certain live sessions which I would start doing with the sponsors, like how I'd done the series with business leaders. So then there was sponsor series. So, all those things did get incorporated because ultimately you have to tell your key USPs to the client and to the event manager कि ये हो सकता है, because see, every event manager, everyone's on the clean slate right now. I'm talking about the initial time. Now, of course, everyone's learned their trick. Like the one recent event I did with Sony Pix, they devised an entire trivia which went out and which was publicized all across Sony Pix websites. So that was an entire 45 minutes trivia, but how do you keep your energy high? How do you interact? So I think, all these things, and of course, any MC while doing any virtual event, you have to be the same energetic person you were, right? You can't overdo, but you can't underdo as well, because ultimately people are hearing you. And yes, the tonal, the speed, one has to really focus on. You cannot speak too fast. Like I've understood that if I speak too fast, people are losing track because sometimes there's an audio issue. So you have to keep repeating the rules again and again because sometimes people can't hear you at one go. So these are the tricks which I feel everyone learns with their experience. Stop it, AK. So you have to repeat it.
Suddenly we gave you a live experience about how the audience are going to react to what you're saying.
So everyone's window was on and they'll be like, we can't hear you. Imagine us reacting to that. But nevertheless, that
we used to do this in school when we didn't know the answer. So we'd say, oh, so. Kathy, what do you have to say about it? What did you start doing? I mean, how did you innovate? What's the new thing which you've got to the table?
So certain things, I'll tell you honestly, initially, because it was all really new, novel for us, I tried some of the games that we would do on ground, like minute to minute kind of games, tongue twisters. I've done all of that online as well, and it worked. So thankfully it worked. And then we started getting all these polls and doing KBCs online. We also started using in office engagement activities where employee engagement was really important. We started using third-party applications like Mentimeter, Office Engage, stuff like that. We played bingo online. We played a lot of treasure hunt online. So it was a really crazy but a really cool experience where we thought, whatever we could do on ground, if we can create like a digital avatar of it and put it online. So that was that. And also one thing that I enjoyed the most was lip reading. I'm sure some of you have tried it. So I would do that a lot at my events, especially when there is comment involved, when there is chat option involved. Then I would mute myself and say some phrase, make it funny, and they type it down and say, "Oh, is it that? Is it this?" And it's been fun.
So there are a lot. Kathy, sorry, I'm just interrupting.
Yeah.
A whole lot of MCs from across the country are asking, suggest what are the new things which we can do? Because you're a very senior MC, you've been in the industry for such a long time. What would you advise and tell them and recommend?
I'm telling
you should start with that, Rahman.
Something experienced.
I think you, and I genuinely do mean that because you are known for your innovation. So I genuinely do mean that.
We've started a virtual live Antakshari, which is suddenly the new thing which we've started doing it, but it's a very designed kind of format wala. It's not the regular thing jahan par humne kisi ko bhi bol diya, chalo let's do this Antakshari. I'm going to sing a song and then we're going to do this. There's a format again. My creative partner is Suman. So we sit down and we kind of jot down things. Karna kya hai? KBC, hundreds of people have done KBC. It's been there, done to dust. They've kind of done it in the most innovative way, and they've actually molested the whole concept. So what we've done is we've kind of added creativity into this. We've kind of not disturbed the whole format of it, but then we've done it, which is very customizable, but we've kept those elements. So we have a phone a friend, which is happening. We've got a 50, we've added all those elements which can be done. So we've not used Mentimeter, we've created our own software. So, so I'm not very innovative. So,
wow.
So we've done this and,
One second, you've genuinely created your own software?
This, yes. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it takes a lot of effort and it takes, it involves a lot of innovation and money which goes into this. Even, Tambola, a whole lot of people do bingo, but then, kabhi hamara bingo dekho, aapko pata chalega. So what we've done is we've kind of added elements which are unique. The reason why I'm telling this is everybody's doing it. Everybody's trying to do some or the other thing, which is involving a whole lot of people. And believe me, with the COVID spike, I think we will continue this for a little while more. So it's not going to end very quickly. And the clients are so used to this. अगर आपको एक physical event करना है, you need a lot of money, you need to book a hotel, you need to get people coming to that venue, you have a stage setup, you have a sound setup, you've got so many things which are involved. But here we've kind of given them on the platter कि boss आप एक window में आप ये सारी चीजें कर सकते हैं at maybe 1/10 or 1/100th of the cost. So what are you going to give? How are you going to involve so many people? If you have 1,000 people, how will you involve them? Now this is something which we've created keeping that in mind. So हमारे पास intellectual है, which involves a lot of knowledge kind of thing, and we've got masti wala, we've got just erratic stuff, matlab, just a commercial, whatever, matlab, bindas, jo public. We've done this for a client called Flipkart ka delivery wing hai. I don't know what's that. It's e-cart. Okay, it's a delivery wing of Flipkart, right? Now we did this tambola for them for 38,000 people, and these people are not educated. They are basic guys who know how to handle a phone. They know how to handle a WhatsApp. Now what we did was we did this tambola for them, which was a very, very simple Bollywood commercial cricket-oriented tambola, which involved everything which has got to do with cricket, with Bollywood, and with politics, and with masti. Now, believe me, it was a 1 hour, 20-minute ka show, and we have 38,000 people playing, and those people know just the WhatsApp wala option, and they know how to watch it. When we did this game, we gave the whole brief. I'm not going to go into the details of this, but when we explained this and we had all these 38,000 people playing, believe me, my client after the event calls me and tells me out of 38,000 people, 98% stayed from the start till the end. So that's the element where we kind of plug in everybody. So these are the things which we are trying to innovate, and inshallah, we are putting a lot of mind into it. Hopefully, we create a lot of innovative content. But how much can you innovate? Innovate karke bhi kitna innovate kar loge? We have our own limitations. So I guess this is what we are doing, and so far we've been very successful. But आगे चल के देखते हैं how much more we can do and how much more.
I'd like to add to that. I think because I'm just adding to the people that have tuned in and are looking for ideas, I also find that chats are also a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Like if you've got like senior management coming in, or you've got like particular winners, or you've got your long service people, anything, right? Like you could pick up a particular bunch of people and you can have a lot of fun chats as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
If you're keeping it, even if it's like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, fun questions, engaging. Other employees also like seeing their bosses, their co-employees having a lot of fun. So that's also maybe something that people could pitch.
Absolutely. That's a very nice idea. You know what I did? We did a pre-recorded thing. Sorry, I'm just taking like 30 seconds. A pre-recorded thing with the senior management, this SLT, who is very senior, who would never answer anything. अगर आपको A पूछना है तो A का जवाब मिलेगा. So what we did was we asked them, who's your favorite, what is the first question you would ask if you meet Prime Minister Modi? And they give the answers, and then we changed the question in the final day, and we said, what would you ask Rakhi Sawant? And then that's the answer which they are giving. So it was a total hilarious competition.
So they had actually prepared the answer for the first question.
And believe me, and it's vice versa. I would ask a question like, what would you ask Rakhi Sawant? And that question would be put to Prime Minister Modi. So it was a fun thing. So sorry, guys. Yeah, Kathy.
But AK, you're the only one I think who can get away by doing such a mischief.
No, it's just like you need to get away.
This can go one way or the other. True.
Yes, it can.
No, but then we put a smile, disclaimer dal diya tha ki, take this on a lighter note. So of course, and the senior management was informed about this. It didn't come as a surprise, but for the people who were watching them, what came on the screen was a little bit of a surprising. Hamare boss ye bhi bol rahe.
Wonderful. So I just want to add on to everything that you've said, and Freesha has also mentioned, is that sometimes, playing on your strengths really work. So look at what your strengths are. Are you really good at engaging activities, games? Do that. Put that into, fillers in your event. Are you really good at chatting? Like Freesha said, having fun conversations, put that as a part of your event, but play on your strengths. Because right now, as we have a little limitation in terms of how much we can explore, experimenting too much can also fall back on you. So just try and play on your strengths a lot more.
Yeah. I would never be able to pull off like a complete cricket tambola, being said, right? Because it's not my forte. So that's a really valid point. Don't try and do something because, everybody else is doing it. I should go in that direction for sure. Because also the audience can see everything. And if it's a screen, I feel that they can pick up even more than they could pick up if you were on stage.
Absolutely. Bhavna, aap kya kehna chahiye?
For me, honestly, when it came to more ideas, I've already mentioned a few which I have implemented, of course. But apart from that, it is about being very much in touch initially while you're conceptualizing an event. So I think now the wheel has turned. The MC has to get involved even in the structuring of the event, right? Because of what your expertise is while handling the software, or what have you done in the software in the previous events.
Yeah.
So, I think AK now it's more of a more team effort because we don't have a console. We don't have anyone, like at times even I have to do the slide share, okay, for certain, presentations which go a little haywire. But I mean, you have to be ready to be a moderator. So you need to know the content, what is lying ahead of you. So there are times, AK, in the past when a very big panel is happening and the moderator, due to internet connectivity, has not been able to log in, or in the middle has logged out. So I think one needs to be just prepared of what the topics could possibly be, because that's what I feel my forte is, and as rightly Kathy said, that delve into your strengths.
Absolutely,
If
completely.
I do delve into my strength at this time, it just enhances my chance to retaining my client as well. And
Absolutely.
I think this time is the best time for MCs to actually, we have so much scope, AK. Imagine we could never be a moderator if it was a live show.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we can't be. Of course, we were moderators, but it was not that we just suddenly had to run in and be a moderator, right? But given a chance now, imagine sitting next to the who's and who's of various industry members and putting your point forth. So I think the more you utilize this opportunity right now, and as Preeti said, it's more about being that talk show expert, being that host you always wanted, or, because this screen is your stage.
Absolutely.
1000% control right now. So I think it's so much fun. And AK, I'm so proud of you. You're doing your software with that's kudos. I mean, that's like going one step above the rest.
No, we don't have any money left. We've invested everything in the software.
No. But now that you've already come out and said it, and so many event managers have heard it, I'm sure you're going to definitely get calls. It's amazing.
No, absolutely, it's gonna go a long way. I mean, we're seeing that the lockdown is gonna stay for a while, and virtual events are definitely gonna stay, maybe in hybrid format or just virtual for a while. And these are the kind of innovations that event managers, clients are looking for.
Absolutely.
But not just during the lockdown, Raman, this is going to go on later on also.
Absolutely.
Not once the live events happen, you will still continue doing this Tambola.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we're talking about innovations and ideas, I think I'm the fourth person, so I have to really wait to give in my inputs. But we did something very different. Definitely, we tried all the housies and all sorts of games. And what Kathy said, tongue twister, we tried kar liya, sab kar liya. For one of my corporate client, we came up with a very interesting Indian Idol kind of a concept where the participants given their talent, their singing and dances also. And we had to shortlist, and we did a semi-final for them virtually. And then we did a finals where we had Shan come and judge them. So it was very exciting for them. They had the finalists, not everybody, obviously, got an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with Shan. They performed, and he would give his inputs. So it was brilliant. I think this one-on-one conversation would have not happened if it was a live stage. So people are quite enjoying this space as well, especially last year when virtual events just began. We were on Zoom. A lot of my anniversary events happened, birthday events happened, and later on, I did a very major Christmas event on Zoom where people enjoyed dressing up because they couldn't leave homes and they were missing the celebration. But through the virtual platform, they got the chance to dress up in their own homes. And then, like the other MCs shared, that we told them to have these props ready. We had these games. So I think people have enjoyed the virtual space.
Fantastic. Very nice. I mean, so we all are kind of, enjoying the virtual space. We're doing very well for ourselves. But what do you think is the biggest disadvantage of being on the virtual platform?
You miss the energy. Like, I'm really kicked about tonight because I'm going to be on stage and meet so many people and feed off their energy on stage,
And that was Kathy.
Huh?
Where the
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
also.
Yeah, I mean that's that's not a very good memory. I want to keep the pain of it, but at the same time, I'm just saying that sitting at home in front of a screen, or while you try to motivate yourself, enthusing yourself with that energy, it really drains you out. I don't know if everybody's experienced it, but after a virtual gig, I am really exhausted and tired. And the amount of talking also you will do, because there is no body language that the audience can see, so all that you're doing is talking and your facial expressions. So it really exhausts you. I think that's one of the challenges that I sometimes face.
So once you get exhausted, what do you do?
I take a nap.
Coffee or an energy bar really helps, trust me, on that.
So, Bhavna, yes, what do you think? What is the biggest advantage of a virtual platform?
Advantage, right, AK?
We're doing disadvantage, yeah.
So, AK, to be very frank, we are dependent on Wi-Fi. For me, still, that will be one of the biggest disadvantages. I mean, I can say other disadvantages, of course, but I think that's one of the biggest disadvantage because, of course, fluctuations happen, and which is why AK of late there are green screen technologies wherein we're doing studio shoots and then we're doing live as well. There is also certain clients of mine, like Colgate did, they had a pre-recorded and then they did live. So, clients are also understanding that when you have a huge show coming up, sometimes things could go a little haywire in the Wi-Fi. And that I'm talking about even in the studio at times. So,
Correct.
home setup, there was a power shutdown in Bombay. I don't know if you remember, there was this one day, which, all over news, there was this power shutdown. And that was the day of one of my events.
I can imagine.
Down across Mumbai. So what do I do? So I mean, for me, that's why it will always be the biggest disadvantage in that sense. But that helps you to sort of come up with other ways wherein you have pre-recorded, which could be played live as a backup.
I guess that's a very valid point. One of the biggest disadvantage, which not a disadvantage, it was a surprise. I was hosting this event for one of very big client, and 6:30 baje, everything's going live. We've got like almost like 12,000 people watching. Everything's hunky dory, energy perfect. Everything's just perfect. And then suddenly we've got a dhol tasha coming outside my house, and it is also dhadal, 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 dim kichika, dim kichika, dim kichika. And imagine I am giving a motivational spiel. And I'm being very serious, and I generally can't be serious, but I try to be serious. I'm giving this thought saying that you guys have done this and you guys have achieved this. Yeah, and teacher and गाने ऐसे चल रहे हैं जो शायद मैं सुनकर कभी motivational spiel दूँ ही नहीं. So दरवाजा खुला छोड़, and that's what is happening. I guess sometimes you get to virtual event maybe, and since I don't have a soundproof window, so this is one thing. And of course the Wi-Fi ka aapne jo bataya, I guess this is a lesson which I learned. I was doing something for Star, and very big event, and my internet conks and it doesn't come back till my event is over. So that was a lesson learned. I've got two Wi-Fi connections now, ek 200 MB ka hai, ek 20 MB ka hai. So I guess, we need to, this is a lesson learned, because there are no second chances. आपके mobile connectivity पे वो नहीं आ सकता. So I guess.
Yeah. But every time I do a gig from home, I have the Wi-Fi, I have my phone right here, which I know how I can immediately connect with, and I have my dongle. I have all three like ready, and I'm like, one doesn't work, something from these three definitely has to work. And it's not sometimes just about our internet going. It's also maybe about the person on the other end, their internet going. So let's say I was doing a series for Taiwan Excellence where every day we had a speaker from a different walk of life. And one day I had Sophie Chaudhary with me, and she was having unfortunately, she was having very bad technical problems, and her internet kept going. And the thing is, the audience has come to see her, and she's going to sing. Now, what am I supposed to do?
You're a very good singer, Risha. I've heard you sing.
I'm the most innovative singer on this planet. I do not know the lyrics to a song. I have a problem. So that is definitely the direction I could not go in. And a few days later, I had Saransh Goyla, who's a chef, and he was coming and making 3 dishes. Now, if his internet goes, he froze on the screen, and he's froze for like a good 15 minutes. I'm not going to be able to start cooking, right, over there. Like, what am I supposed to do? So sometimes it's not just about our internet going, but it's about us thinking on our feet, being really quick, coming up with something that, and this could happen on stage as well, right? We experience this many times on stage. So I guess we take that same expertise and we translate it on screen.
That's what Frisha was telling the other day to an event manager, that more than an MC job, our job is crisis management, and it happens offline, online, everywhere. So you have to just be a little prepared, maybe do a little pre-prep, like, a chef is coming, maybe think about the recipe. Can you talk about one of the ingredients? Just something that you can do that time, and that can really, really go a long way. And the clients and the agencies appreciate when you manage the crisis very well, and that gives you more work. So I think that is something that you should look into.
Do you want to add to this?
I've lost the question. What was your question?
That was a question. See, you lose, sometimes we all lose out on the points which we are speaking. So I guess that was a question. So if at all, if you lose connection, if you lose the point, what would you do? Suppose you come in, like for instance, in the last panel discussion, your internet froze and you were just right there on the screen. And
yeah, that was my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi went off and I'm on my phone right now.
That's exactly what we are discussing.
I'm on my phone now, my phone mobile data. It took a minute. But I'm back.
Wonderful. Yeah, I am jealous of your mobile data connection, because my mobile data Vodafone suffers all the time. I cannot.
So I have a Geo dongle with me, unlimited data. That can be connected to your phone, to your laptop, whatever. So do not rely on Wi-Fi. I think Kathy, you and me, we were discussing the other day that Wi-Fi वाले को phone करके बोलना पड़ता है कि आज के दिन please बंद मत करना, आज important day है.
I have done that. I've called the service provider, and today I have a very important event. The Wi-Fi cannot fluctuate. Pump in a little more speed in there, whatever you can do.
I have construction going on. There's bamboos outside my house. My whole building is getting done. So one day before, I have to tell them on the WhatsApp group कि 2 घंटे के लिए please मेरा show. The same thing is happening with metro construction happening right outside, but on important dates, important events, I have visited the company, the event agency's office, and I've sat there and done my event. Most of these events are happening in studios with a green background, but if it's a virtual event like this, you have to do something. You can't have that going on in the background.
So we pretty much sorted. We know what we're supposed to do when the event day is on. So how long is this going to go? What do you think? Your predictions, guys? I mean, we're doing virtual. How are you going to say that, okay, now here I am and I'm going to go here. I mean, I'm just going to step up a little bit, and this is what I'm going to get to the table, so that, there's a lot of competition. Everybody's waiting for work and everybody's saying, yaar, the event manager is going to be very candid and saying, "Yaar, budget itna hai client ka." And I mean, I've heard this from a lot of good event managers, and they say, "Yaar, ye hai, and aapko itne mein rehearsal karne mein aana hai. You'll have to do a demo for whatever on the previous day, and then this is the event." So, what else can you do? I mean, isko interesting kaise bana sakte hain? So what do you guys tell the event managers so that you have the upper hand, saying that, yes, I can do better than what she's doing? So let's start with you, Preeti.
Yeah, so as I earlier said, our business is all about relationship building. And if you have worked with somebody and they really like you, they will call you no matter what you're charging. And sometimes, yes, you have to reduce costs for people because that's how the situation is. Secondly, virtual events are going to stay because I think some corporate, especially not the social world, the weddings are not going to be on this virtual space, but corporates are enjoying this to some extent. Also, I don't think you can steal another MC's job. You have to do how much ever you can, but let others also work. Like I think Kathy or somebody else said, कि आपके पास अगर 3 events अपने friends को दे दो. We have to be there for each other. Secondly, when you're doing an event and you're trying to convince the client कि मुझे इतना budget दे दो. This is a time where everybody is suffering. The client, the event manager, we artists. This is a great time, and we are building the bond. And this is going to help us in the future. आज जो आपके friends बने हैं, हमने इतने सारे Insta live sessions किए थे शुरू में. We've done n number of virtual events and similar events like the one we are doing right now, इस platform पे जिससे आपकी friendship बनी है, वो लंबे समय तक चले. Because this is not superficial. This is the time where we all have supported each other. And not just an event manager, I feel us MCs also got closer during this time. Initially, we used to play games together. We had fun, so many fun sessions. Rahman, you had your Insta Live session, which nobody
I did with a whole lot of people, so it's good fun. I guess that's going to come back sometime in the near future as well. But then we are better equipped now that we're ready, that we're doing sessions which pays you as well. So I guess we're doing good work and we're getting paid for it as well. And like Khyati mentioned, I think it's all about taking care of our tribe, and we make sure that we all together sail through this time. This time is there and it's going to go. जैसे बुरा वक्त अच्छा वक्त नहीं रहा, बुरा वक्त भी नहीं रहेगा. So it's just,
पर ये बुरा वक्त नहीं है. We're getting paid
challenging वक्त है.
less. But ये ही जो आप अभी कर रहे हो will pay you a lot more later on. And the friends you're making right now will stick by.
Absolutely.
Because ये difficult time है, and it's not superficial. People are there for each other. They're really there.
Ladies and gentlemen, अगर आपको motivational speaker चाहिए, भावना भाटिया, अपना आपकी राय बता.
I know no songs in the background. No dhotala in the background.
All right, Bhavna, final words.
Yeah, absolutely. So just towards the final end, all I got to say is that virtual events in some way or the other will stay for sure. I'm talking even when live will come back, because maybe the annual awards, the main will happen live. But when we're talking about quarterly events, quarterly annual awards of major companies will happen virtual, because they've understood that that is the same event they can do in less than 1/5 of the budget, right? So we can see a lot of work out for the MCs out there. So of course there'll be a huge imagine you'll have virtual as well as live. Like let's say right now Khyati is doing live in the evening, vis-a-vis she'll do virtual in the morning. So that just leaves doors open to you right now. I personally feel that keep your eyes and ears open. What's happening in the industry? Be a part of such forums wherein you get to know what's happening. Don't look at each other as a competition. Of course, we all are competition, but learn from each other as to what someone is doing. So, I mean, I might not have met Frisha, but I know a lot about her. Of course, I know Khyati, we've spoken, but that is only right now over the lockdown days. But I keep my eye open as to what is happening in the industry. So I think that's very important as to what work is evolving. I think once you get you're sorted. I think half game is won when you know what is happening. The rest is for you to evolve and take it forward.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Khyati, final words.
I don't think I want to up anybody. I think we all are doing the kind of work that we are good at. So in fact, very recently, I don't think I even spoke to Frisha about it, but a brand came to me and said, we want somebody to anchor a show, but we want somebody with a really good reach. So I said, I may not be that person for you, but you can speak to Frisha. I passed on the number to them. So, something like that, you know what you are good at and see what others are good at. Why not help each other out in such a situation rather than really having that competition against each other? We all are getting our share of work. We all are doing what we are good at and working with the people who see the goodness in us. So I think we should play on that. I will stick to my point on that. Play on your strengths.
Fantastic. Frisha.
I actually think you should go.
No, I want to listen to you. I see your videos.
Yeah, we should have you come.
No, I learned so much from you. I seriously learned so much from you. So you're a very good speaker and you got so much of content. And it's always nice to connect with people. The most beautiful thing of this virtual platform, which I think is that you've kind of told yourself that you could do this as well. I mean, you don't need to have a person in front of you who's sitting and listening to you, but then you can connect with the person right there, imagining that he's listening to you, imagining that he's understanding what you're saying, imagining that you're putting a smile on his face, and it works. Believe me, जब आप सच्चे दिल से कोई भी काम करते हैं, I've seen this, I've done this, and I feel very happy about it. That it's teaching me to be a lot more humble, a lot more filled with gratitude that we are into the business of speaking when you're putting a smile and connecting with people who are sitting somewhere down there. Some person who's sitting in Chennai who doesn't know Hindi, and I'm saying, "Enna machan nalla irukingla, sir, na paatha ningu, eppadi paakringo sir, enna smile pandring." There's this little smile coming on his face, and I can imagine and I can feel that. So you're connecting with people who you don't even know. And this virtual platform has made you so equipped with things that you never thought you had. So it's a beautiful way of connecting. And I think whatever happens, this platform is going to stay. It's going to stay. And I think we will just improve, and we're going to take this tribe ahead with us to happy times. So I guess that's how it's going to be.
I truly hope that it's probably a mix of what Bhavna just said, where I would love to just only get back onto stage, because at the end of the day, you just can't feel the energy. Yeah. No matter how hard we try. We've spoken about so many ways of innovating as well. But coming to the point that you made, that what is one of the biggest learnings and what is one of the biggest things that has come out from this entire pandemic and this virtual space that we have created for ourselves, I would definitely pick up on what Preeti said, which is that the community came together.
Absolutely.
So the kind of, we have the presenters group, we have the EMA WhatsApp group as well. We, the presenters, I think it is now almost at like 200, close to 200 MCs from all over India, a sharing of resources, a sharing of ideas, and just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm here, you can talk to me. I have people randomly messaging me, even if they just need to talk or they just need to reach out. And that is one of the biggest things which I think our industry never had. We were too involved in our own worlds. We were catching flights, only meeting at airports, bumping into each other. And suddenly we were all forced to sit at home. The whole world was forced to sit at home. And we reached out as a community. And we really made sure that we told each other that we were there for each other. And that work is continuing. Behind the scenes right now, there are a lot of people who are trying to put norms together, who are trying to put rules, regulations, formats for us, who are trying to make us a proper industry. We have been in this industry for very long. We have put in lots of hours and lots of hard work. And it's time now for all of us to come together and say that the MCs are also one big part of this. We're not just artists, so we're not just that. We're one big core team, and we're going to, prove to others that that is what we are, and we're being taken more seriously. Our work is being taken more seriously.
Absolutely, we are taken seriously. We are important. We're not just ek announce karne wala. And it's not just our communities come together. We become a lot more organized. And it's going to help us in the long run. And there's one more thing that I'd like to share with you, and I think you feel the same, is that हमारे industry में सबको कुछ न कुछ insecurities थी कि अरे क्या होगा, थोड़ा fear था. And now that we've faced the worst, everybody sat home. I think we're fearless now.
Absolutely. What we have to do is,
ये फेस कर लिया है बॉस, कुछ भी फेस कर सकते हैं हम.
Absolutely. इसीलिए तो हम कह रहे हैं एक दूसरे से करते हैं प्यार हम, एक दूसरे के लिए बेकरार हम, एक दूसरे के वास्ते मरना पड़े तो है तैयार हम.
Rahman has this charm. That is why he's been put here to have conversation with 4 beautiful girls.
And Bhavna's been given the very difficult task of Nama's been given the very difficult task of now telling 4 MCs that they need to stop talking.
Exactly. Us on every event. That's us, right? We are like flashed on screen now. That's your cue.
Yeah. I actually get it now, that how difficult it is to, ask panelists that we need to move on with the next.
But honestly, guys, all that we spoke was curated by Nama. Thank you very much for giving us this.
No, not at all.
This session is incomplete without one last thing. Is we need to take a screenshot selfie together. Everyone smile. Let's do a screenshot. Wonderful. I think we miss doing this the most, on stage, clicking pictures on stage.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And Nama, over to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Rahman,
AK.
for wonderful moderation. Seriously, really enjoyed it. Thank you, girls. I always love chatting up with you.
Waiting to see you all in real.
Yes, real soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, all of you, for sharing your individual fun stories and showing the world of an anchor and an MC to our audience. Extremely grateful to all of you. We now move on to our next session, a fireside chat with Mr. Anuj Siddharth. Mr. Siddharth is a marketing communications specialist with more than 16 years of experience and is currently the Deputy Director, Marketing and Communications at MediaTek India. In his diverse career with rich experience in sales and marketing, he has had the opportunity to work with some of the most innovative and reputed brands across the world. His passion for branding, marketing, and PR motivates him to conceptualize long term goals and achieve them by implementing effective strategies. I also invite on screen Mr. Ruhail Amin, Executive Editor, BW Applause and Everything Experiential, to take this forward. Over to
Thank
you.
you, Nama. Thank you, Mr. Siddharth. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you. Great. So a quick fireside chat that we have 15 minutes, and I want to straightway dive into my first question is that if you look at the last 12 months, tell me, in your view, how has marketing, impacted? How has it been impacted the way we used to carry out the activities of marketing? Give me a sense of that from your perspective.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting us on the show and excited about it. And of course, a very valid question during these times. Well, we all understand, COVID has certainly, triggered quite a challenge across these sectors, right? Well, we have seen that it has brought about a greater dependency on various technologies, such as smartphones, tablets, laptops, and many more digital products during the times of remote working and learning. Well, we marketeers have to rethink on our strategies and adapt to the challenging consumer behavior. As that we have to shift, to our digital channels, along with the need to create personalized experiences that have completely transformed the way brands engage with consumers. Well, there has been a significant shift in the pattern where you talk about any industry, be it retail, banking, entertainment, and any industries, right? Hence, brands have to revisit their marketing strategies to target these consumers. Those are spending a lot of time, on these digital platforms. So, Ruel, I believe you agree with me on that part, right? That these kind of changes, probably you would have seen in your lifestyle as well.
Right,
Yeah.
totally. Tell me, one of the big challenges during this pandemic was carrying your teams together and making them understand the situation at the same time, where a lot of people were getting laid off and there were concerns and insecurities. Tell me, at MediaTek, how did you deal with this crisis? How was the team put together during this spell of COVID, which is still there? I mean, the second wave that we talked about.
Absolutely. Well, it is always a key to ensure the growth, which is being quite agile and quickly adapting the kind of changes which is happening in the environment today. Well, at MediaTek, I believe, our communication strategies has always been to maintain uniformity across our marketing and sales initiatives using these effective digital interactions. Well, we have been leveraging a 360-degree across, marketing media mix strategies, which involves a mix of both mobile and smart device segments. Well, probably, with these changing environments, we all have to evolve, come out with certain alternatives, right? Best solutions, like our virtual interactions today, right? And, we have been doing it for quite some time, right? In a similar manner, we have been in a regular touch with our internal business teams, consumers, partners throughout monthly various tactics, right? Newsletters, social media, even virtual events. And we also have our event MediaTek Technology Diaries to put across the touch points and stay connected and updated, with all of the members. And we have accordingly adapted, our new messaging to deliver relevant content, which is really, really important, leveraging technology, as a new age tool, which we all need today, right? For instance, to talk about stay connected with tech campaign on social media was a great success for us, at MediaTek, and talking about, growing importance of technology in these recent times, was a great success for us.
Right. We're talking about a virtual event and we are on a virtual event. Tell me from a marketing tool perspective and using virtual, to reach out. Tell me a little bit what MediaTek has been doing in that space.
Yeah, see, absolutely, well, like I said, there are a couple of, events and, which we have been working on, like, our MediaTek Technology Diaries, is one of the examples, which we have, wherein remotely, we cover, with media friends, we discuss with them, and reaching out to media friends. And like I said, a lot of these virtual social media tools which we have, wherein we have newsletters, different tactics and tools, right, which we manage and stay connected with the teams internally and externally.
Right. So here's the question, I mean, that has come. How are you leveraging your employer's brand to attract and retain talent in the current quest for technology talent?
Well, I think, we all understand that, having a great talent pool is of utmost important and priority for any organization, and, being at MediaTek, we are a leadership in the IC industry, and which is probably very important. And, with some of the great initiatives from HR and from corporate initiatives, well, MediaTek, has been considered as one of the preferred choice of youngsters, and the upcoming technology leaders. And we offer a comprehensive program for professionals development that extends, from basic training to that of personally tailored plans, so as the teams, they realize their full potential. And especially during these current times, of remote working, how a brand appears to an employer is really, really important, for attracting the right talent, and thus we have been incorporating this message of a strong brand, team values, work culture in our corporate messaging by leveraging the platform such as social media and referral programs. Not only that, some of the interesting regular vlogs, newsletters, participation in these virtual and cultural programs, we let our team meetings and surveys, and we ensure that MediaTek employees, gets an equal opportunity to engage and, share their voice of opinion, and we have seen the increase in focus of creating the team-centric content, and by adjusting our messaging around this new normal to stay safe, and which has been accepted very widely in the organization, because we need to continue to meet with these growing demands, with the increased market position for us, so be it mobile or home, across our portfolio, we are always looking forward for a interesting and a talented individuals.
Right. So, I mean, the current market scenario that we see, there's a lot of pressure on organizations across sectors, and they have to differentiate their offering. They cannot sound, or, the brand cannot be similar, a replica. Tell me, in your view, being the expert, how do you stay differentiated in a crowded market? What are the best ways to do it in your view?
Well, probably we have to certainly, change is the need of an hour, right? As we rightly you also mentioned, right? So, well, it is a massive lifestyle shift, that we have seen, which has been created, in these with that of a newer market opportunities, which we have seen, right? When we, actually talk about, more and more consumers also now shifting to e-commerce and the online platforms to buy the products, as we discussed earlier. So there's a lot of growing opportunity for marketing, and along with that sales team perhaps to rethink and how to leverage these particular platforms, because these are the current options. And on top of it, probably we have to always reach out to our customers and relevant with that of a relevant content. I mean, I think, as we discussed today here, right, digital product promotions, right, are of utmost important, right? The priority has been, always creating the right kind of a value, providing with the complete wholesome experience, probably I think is a need of an hour. And probably one more point here, right, with that of analytics, right, and the data-driven insights, probably is also a game changer for marketing strategies, moving forward. And brands, probably they want to get ahead and improve their complete 360-degree consumer experience, with that of these kind of predictive analysis.
Right. Do you think virtually, when you connect your sales teams, when you provide them the connect with prospective customers virtually, how to make it more effective in your way, using the virtual platforms to reach out to your prospective clients, how do you enable that? Is it challenging than a physical environment in your view?
See, certainly, there are times that, there's a need for it. But however, well, the kind of these virtual meetings and the way the teams are working, internal teams are working very closely with each other, right? I think that's when it's really important for the teams, right, facing the consumers to work very closely in hands with each other, right? Like by together building up consumer strategies, right? With probably end-to-end consumer journey approaches, right? Supplementing them with an optimal mix of strategies such as social listening, probably integrated content management, marketing, automation, and probably to achieve the desired sales goal end of the day, right? I think by doing these kind of approaches and with that of probably having a probably I would say an omni-channel approach, wherein we have social media, we have different tactics, being put together. I think the 360-degree approach is, I think, really, really important. Probably that is what one can do today, right? And so as there is no such feeling that we are not meeting every day in and out, but by having a relevancy, and probably bringing that particular mindset, uh, I think this is which is very much accepted today, right? So probably online marketing, probably we all understand, probably it's been having quite a crowded space today, right? And to get the desired results, we should continue to understand, what audience is needing, right? What is the requirement for them, right? And I think this is where a trustworthy brand, the communication plays a very, very important role. So if the communication is been rightly put across, right, I think probably one can stand out from the competition too. And consumers, they have that kind of connect with you, right? Doesn't matter, wherever and whatever you are doing. Yeah.
My final question is about, technology has disrupted the customer experience. From here, what do we expect? What are the broad trends that would define the customer, experience from here on?
Well, I believe you would agree with me that technology has always been a disruptor, right? And I think in the coming years, I'm sure there will be an increased focus on a lot of technology adoption, across the domains, even on the social sectors, right? For that matter, right? And I think we should be thanking to the advanced technology, wherein we are always connected, right? In whatever ways, whatever times, right? And we are witnessing that massive change across the consumer journey too, right? I think a classic example would be, which can be seen, that of an increased accessibility to the technological digitalization, right? As we talk today, right? E-commerce, third-party review portals, right? Which drive the need of an omni-channel, like I mentioned, right? I think these points are really, really important, right? Consumers now, they follow the brand across platforms, right? They want to understand very single minute detail, what is going in the transaction, what kind of brand value a brand is bringing onto the table, right? What is powering that brand, right? It is really, really important, right? And we have seen that consumers have now started noticing and valuing the hardware that goes in a device, and just not about the features, which showcases that the consumers are evolving, they are becoming more mature and they need more awareness. And therefore, the growing need to analyze the consumer trends, adapting their requirements, especially with that of the changing environments today, right? It is really, really important, to have that kind of thing. Recently, I would say that we talk about some of the technology trends, right? I think AI has been AI has been quite a game changer, right? Which we have seen, right? And some of the interesting examples, I just wanted to portray here, right? Our partner, HP has recently announced a Chromebook, which is powered by MediaTek, right? It's a classic example, how they would like to connect, with the young audience, right? During these times. Then, we talk about another example of smart TV, voice-aided devices. I'm sure you might also be using one of those devices, right? Voice-aided devices, right? Which are bringing a lot of AI, at your homes, right? Recently, we have again, I cannot stop, telling you that recently launch of our, Samsung TV that powered by MediaTek. It's becoming like world's first Wi-Fi 6 enabled 8K technology TV, right? There's so much of demand for streaming, right? I think times to come, AI, streaming, education, e-commerce. I think that is marketing automation tools, right? I think chatbots, right? I think it's the next future of technology which we all foresee.
Thank you, Mr. Siddharth. I think I have a cue that the next session is up. And Joe, thanks for joining us. We'll hope to see you on our awards later. Thanks once again.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Siddharth. lovely, lovely speech. We now move on to our next chat, which is with Mr. Rabindra Narayan. Mr. Narayan is Managing Director and President of PTC Network. Nara- Mr. Narayan is the founder of the first ever Punjabi satellite channel in the world, Punjabi World, and has had a long stint with media houses like VETC, Page Press, Sunday Mail, Weekly Sun, and more. Mr. Narayan is also a passionate writer and a dedicated media person, and he is proud to be heading the team at PTC Network. Over to Ruhail and Mr. Narayan.
Thank you, Nama. Thank you, Mr. Narayan. Good to see you here. And so our conversation is about events, of course. And last time, I think we spoke about that was when you were curating an event, virtually.
Yeah.
A TV network doing a whole award show virtually. Tell me, was it as effective if I now we look at it from, it's been a few months now. Was it as effective as a ground event? And how much is PTC's focus on virtual events?
See, our focus is totally now on virtual event. Not only the award shows, even our talent shows, we are doing in a virtual mode now. And I'll tell you what, the future is now going to be not without virtual events. And all the events, I think, will be either hybrid or virtual. Gone are the days when we were accustomed to only ground events, where you'll have elaborate settings, elaborate sets, sitting arrangement, planes being chartered or artists being flown in, and so much of paraphernalia was going in. Suddenly, all that effort gets simplified. You have the same reach, same sort of audience, same everything available, but at a marginal cost. I mean, I'll give you the example of the film awards we did. It used to entail flying people from Canada, from London, from USA, from Australia, the artist, the sponsors, the global sponsors, and there was a whole lot of logistical planning. The hotels. I mean, when the film awards were happening, you won't find any hotel room in Mohali or Chandigarh. All were booked by us. People are flown in, coming in to attend from all walks of life, all corners, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, you name the place. And there were 8,000 people attending the show, which would last over a 6 hours time duration with a red carpet and all. Suddenly, with the pandemic, it became impossible to have a ground event. And everybody said, let's drop it. Let's not do it this time. And that's when we decided, no. The industry works throughout the year. They have done so much of effort. And this is one night that we dedicate the efforts, they recognize their efforts, we reward them, award them, and everybody looks forward to it. So we said, no, come what may, we must go ahead with it. Then we devised a way how to do it. Somebody stuck somewhere, somebody stuck somewhere. So we built a huge virtual set. Now, Divya Datta was anchoring from Bombay. Gugi was anchoring from Mohali. Gippy was performing from Chandigarh. And the dancers were in Delhi. And they were suddenly on one stage, a similar stage that we would have on the ground. The audience, instead of just going to the ground at that time, was all over the world, watching it on TV, watching it on Facebook, on YouTube. YouTube was beaming it in 4K, HD in Facebook, and SD on television. And suddenly, the audiences who would miss out on it during the live, because they were those who were not on TV, not in front of their TV sets, they will be not able to watch it. The audience which does not get passes or tickets to the ground will miss out, even though it's in their area or their town. Suddenly everybody could become part of it. And many of the artists would pull out because the flights are not available, the schedules are catching, somebody's shooting somewhere, somebody is busy with something. Now everybody was available because they were where they were. And we could shoot everyone, we could can our performances the way we wanted. And most importantly, the outcome was a very, very slick product. Because we televise all our events live. So all the time lags from the artist, the moment they get up from the chair, climb up the staircases and reach the stage and take the award and give a thank you speech, takes a lot of time. And all that was suddenly gone. It was crisp, to the point, cut to cut, roller coaster of a ride. And imagine we spent about 2.5 to 3 crores on organizing this on ground. This happened for less than a crore. So there were savings. Every artist was available, every sponsor was available. Ultimately, what is the sponsor looking for? Eyeballs. What are the people looking for? A grand show. And that's what we were able to create. And then we realized we could convert everything in virtual mode, and people will not have to miss out on anything. We did e-concerts, we did music awards, we did our talent shows, so much so that people were participating, auditioning for our Voice of Punjab from Canada, from Germany, from London, from various other places.
Right. So that means that the use of virtual has become a mainstream thing for PTC. Tell me, at the same time, it has been a response to the COVID crisis somewhere. As we move on to a phase where events open up, would PTC have the same approach towards virtual events as well?
See, it depends. We've suddenly hit on a formula which we never thought is possible. I mean, you have a 100 by 80 feet stage. You have 8,000 people attending. You have a red carpet and a grand show, something like Oscars or Filmfare and all those happening. And suddenly you realize you actually don't need it. The same thing, same effect can be recreated. Ultimately, the millions are going to see it on their TV screen or on their mobile. As long as they get their money's worth, it doesn't matter how it is done. So what I feel is that the ground events will not go away. They will remain. It's an experience. But it's an experience to a limited audience. When you're targeting towards a bigger audience, then they will turn into hybrid. There'll be ground as well as virtual, as well as all other components built in. Now, a lot of innovations are happening. Facebook has started paid events where you get to sell the tickets. They sell the tickets for you. And conferences like this, I mean, I've been watching this event from the beginning in the morning. Such an engaging event. Otherwise, I would have been busy somewhere. I would not have been able to travel to the conference, would not have been able to catch every session or listen to everyone. Here I'm also in my office attending to whosoever comes in, but I'm all the time attentively listening to what is happening here live. So that's a new thing, and that's a very, very all-inclusive thing. The only people who are losing out right now are the vendors, the tent house wala, the chair supplier, the set makers, and all those. They're losing out right now. But it's a temporary phase. They will come back.
I have time for one more question, which is that, earlier during the discussion, one of the panel discussions, when we're talking about physical events and virtual events, so it looks like a replica. We're trying to replicate what is on ground on a virtual space without differentiating. The touch points sound similar. There's an audience, the door, there is a gateway to enter. How do we create a totally different beast, which is not what inspired necessarily from the physical? Do you think that is the next big thing in the virtual space?
It's going to be the next big thing. Right now, we are taking baby steps. People did not think this is happening. Slowly, they're getting the groove of it. They're slowly discovering, yes, we can do it. So the hangover remains. Whatever you were doing on ground, you're trying to replicate it virtually, the same thing, same experience. Suddenly they will discover that, no, we don't need to do this. We can do a grander thing, or maybe we can do a more involved sort of an event where people are voting online, giving opinion online, participating online. You may have audience participating through Zoom, and some interesting contest is done on ground, and the winners are joining in virtually. I mean, a lot of things will happen. A lot of experiments will happen. It's going to grow. We are just a few months old into this new mode of doing events. And events are going to stay. Earlier, people thought the industry is gone. Events may not be able to be done for next 1 or 2 years. It's going to be closed shops and this and that. No, it's not going to be. It's going to evolve. Things will change.
Exactly. And now we have around 100 plus event platforms in India itself. I think it's growing. We have pivoted and there are responses to it. My last final question is that, is this technology being developed by your own team? Are you also looking at outside platforms?
Yes.
Yes.
We totally developed the entire technology on our own. We also are the only company which does our own events. All our ground events, no matter what scale they are managed in-house. There is no event management company. We all get together and we have our expertise. Last 20 years we've been doing this. So we know how to do events, and the entire paraphernalia is in-house. The talent is in-house. You hire vendors to supply you equipment or settings or stage or properties or things like that. But everything else is managed in-house. The best thing is that otherwise, if I did not have the talent, it would have been very hard for me to find people who could do this. These guys have been doing it in and out day after day. So they knew how to convert it, how to arrange things, how to give the script the feel, how to get the artist to speak those lines. So they knew the paraphernalia. So that's been an advantage. We're doing it in house, and most of it has been, our app is developed in house, our transmission happens in house, our events happen in house. So the talent we could retain. Otherwise, would have been, had I been an company, it would have been virtually impossible for me to retain the entire team. Now, this way
Right.
we could retain the entire team and do it in house.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Narayan, for joining us. And over to you, Nama.
Thank you, Mr. Narayan. And now we move on to the last panel for the day. And the topic for this panel is how our experiential marketing agency is adjusting to the COVID challenge. Experiential marketing agencies have witnessed numerous challenges as the pandemic struck and lingered on. What have been their efforts to deal with it, and much more on this panel. I now welcome on screen Mr. Akshay Chavla, Managing Director, ThinkXQ, Mr. Deepak Pawar, Managing Director, Next Media, Streamy.in, and National Secretary, EMA, Mr. Nikhil Joshi, Director, Digital Jalebi, and Mr. Rashid Said, Managing Director, George P. Johnson Experience Marketing. Over to Rohel and our panel.
Thank you. I've been here on the panel earlier as well. Great to have you over the final panel of the day, and we had a whole lot of discussions, and we had a panel on the government, have they failed to do something for the event sector, and suddenly I got a news sometime back that there's a big announcement coming. Great on that day when we are hosting this. So quickly, I want to start with you, Mr. Pawar. I mean, we know what the situation has been for the experiential agencies and even the companies. How have you pivoted to stay relevant?
Thank you, Rohel, for having me here, and thank you, Nama, for all the work that you do keep doing behind the scene always, and all the panelist friends. I think we have been together earlier also in a similar environment. I think 6 months back, sometimes, yes. So and similar and same discussions that had happened during that time. So Royal, things have again come back to the lockdown situation here in Maharashtra now. And what is the only difference that I see now is I think we are ready for it. Sorts, I don't know what, but that fear is kind of gone, and we are fighting it. We know what we have to do. We have a plan in place, and maybe most of the time, like Sanjoy just sometimes back said, I think we are nowhere. We don't even know where we are heading towards and how governments are responding and what's happening now. But I think on all those fronts, if you look at it, EMA collectively today is wanting to fight this war, take it head on, because we are not realizing the amount of ancillary segments that are surviving. In fact, look at our employees too, down the line, these trends and all the industries that are working towards having this thing together, and we are the most affected industry. Others are all, I think, somewhere or the other coping up, but then I think we and our industry is below the line. Like morning, I saw one video which went viral of a magician opening a vada pav stall, and he actually saying strongly that now I need to commit suicide. He's saying, I'm going to do this, and this is my staff behind. I have nowhere to go. You just close down my vada pav. You say Amazons and all these guys only Zomatos and Swiggies can sell, and no who's going to buy my vada pav on a Zomato or a Swiggy? So there is a lot of issues which local outlets are facing, and I think that's there to face now. But I think what we have pivoted towards, and that's what your question was, is I think technology is what we have all embraced, and companies have to do that. The technology, as I think most of the panelists out here are going to be talking about, our platforms and what we did during the lockdown. I think, Royal, you and all of us got together, if you remember, and EMA, we started doing these virtual events. I think from the day one, on March 21st last year, was our first large virtual event that we did, because all artists were sitting Vela, and we got everybody to do that Thali Baji along with us that time. And all musicians came, and from then on, EMA did 150 plus live virtual events. During that period itself is what we realized that corporates are going to be doing this. There is no other way out. And now how that's going to be turning into, and how virtual world is going to be I think there are better people out here who are going to be speaking more about it. So I'll leave it to them.
Ms. Said, coming to you, I mean, how we know the story, but how did you adjust? Take us a little through that journey, you know, while the thick of the lockdown and then emerging out of it and getting your clients back. What was it like for you?
To be honest, I think we got screwed big time. Okay, so how it went to trickling down to employees, we all said we will pay full salaries. It didn't happen. So, just went into June, July, and we realized that our losses were increasing to a huge extent. So we'll had to cut down on all places. What we did is we tried then retaining the tech people, and we realized that the corporates had started already till then. We were on virtual events. So we quickly, I found a friend, and collaboration was the key word that time. Sachin Talwar was from Wow Events who's there. And, so me and him, we got together and formed a company called Streamy. And Streamy today, now that we have platforms, and we just started getting loaded with events from our own fraternity because they had nowhere to go. And it was a very simple process to bring things together and putting in our heads together and bringing the right technology in place and the right vendors, right partners, the studios, the shoots, the works, whatever. And today it all has been a pilot for us. Each of those events were pilots, which now, if you look at it, have become into a case study for ourselves. And I think if the virtual world, which we are saying is going to stay for good, maybe hybrid and a mix of that. But I think that's what we have suddenly found. And I think we are doing very, very good in that area.
Right. Said, coming to you, Mr. Rashid Said, tell us your story, your journey of the last 1 year, getting the clients back, convincing them, and now facing another situation.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Rohil, and thanks to the entire BW team. And thank you for good to have to be part of such an elite panel. Like Deepak also mentioned, the journey has been quite similar to most of the other experiential agencies that have gone through the process. What we did in Josh P. Johnson maybe a little differently is that in 2008, when the financial meltdown happened globally, our US offices got hit quite badly. At that time, India was not hit that badly. And at that time, we put a plan in place along with our global offices to say that we should not let something like this affect us badly. A crisis like this, just took the sails out, wind out of our sails. So we put a plan in place, which we called Building the Agency of the Future. And we said that we should not be a one-trick pony anymore, not just focus on events, but have all the supplementary services that come with events and experiential, whether it is bringing film and video internally, or whether it's creative and digital internally, bringing audience marketing and audience acquisition, strategy and planning. So what we did is we started bringing all these other ancillary services that we used to outsource, and all the clients would go to other agencies to do. We started bringing them in-house. And come 2020, and when the first quarter of last year COVID hit us, what we started seeing is that while physical events were off the table, we were able to sell all the other services that we had built over the years to our clients to do various non-event related work. So we got into communication, we got into pure digital work. We were making film and videos for them. Of course, then the virtual events kicked in. All of us learned along the way, and there was a lot of takers for virtual events because clients found that that was a only replacement for physical events as a medium of communication to their core audiences. And we, of course, don't have we didn't have an in-house platform then. Now we have launched globally a platform called Osprey. But at that point in time, we used a lot of other platforms like Hubilo as well. And I think last year we had a fairly decent year. We executed about 150 to 160 virtual events, both for our current clients as well as clients we thought we would never work with ever. So I remember going to Z-Melt event, in Mumbai, or going to Design Yatra in Goa every year, and thinking that, wow, this is such a beautiful event. I wish I would execute this event. And of course, never spoke to Rajesh from curious about it, because I thought that he's set with the agency that is there, and luck would have it differently. And then Rajesh actually reached out to me through Anand, his editor, and said, hey, like, listen, our current agency is not able to execute our virtual event. We want to turn Zmelt and Zanyatra into virtual. Can you guys help us? And then we supported them with Zmelt as well as Zanyatra. Both were paid events. The other example was India Mobile Congress. We used to go every year to this India Mobile Congress with Red Hat, IBM, Ericsson, and Vodafone, these kind of clients, but never managed it end to end. But India Mobile Congress, last year we handled end to end the virtual part of it. So where some opportunities like went off the table, other new opportunities came our way, and that's how COVID has been, I think, for a lot of people, organizations, agencies. That's been the journey for them last year. So I think, of course, the physical events is something that we miss because of the profitability and the margin that is much better over there. But we are sustaining quite a bit with virtual events now and learning new things. New technology is being brought to the table. Clients are lapping it up. But maybe this question will probably come up during the course of the panel discussion, Rohit, but I'll just kind of socialize it now, which is now clients are saying virtual events are fine. People are coming on, registering and logging in, but we are not finding the kind of engagement that was there in physical events. What can you guys do for us? So this year, 2021, the challenge is now going to become, looks like we have to stay with virtual event this year, but how are you going to make it more engaging for us? So I leave it over there.
Yes, Mr. Joshi, I will come to you on that. Yes, yeah. Before that, I want to go to Mr. Chawla and understand the Think XQ story over the last 1 year. How did you come to terms with this?
Thanks, Royal. Thanks for inviting us. Thanks to BW. Good evening, all the panelists, in fact. Our story was no different. If I start talking about our story, it will be similar to what Rashid said or what Deepak was talking about. And I'm sure that all others would have a similar story. Right? This was not something which had a formula that any would put into and come out of it. Everyone was trying something new or different and was trying to sustain themselves.
Tell me, your teams, for example, that's relevant. Your teams also, how did you keep your teams together during this tough time? No experiential spend, and brands have just withholding their budgets. Give me a sense of that.
So, one good thing that we did was we ensured that we did not lay off anyone, right? Having said that, this does not mean that, we were giving out 100% salaries. There was a salary cut. We, got certain people to go on sabbatical, ensuring that, as soon as business starts picking up, or they would have clients, who they can reach out to and get business, they can start earning salaries from that. So there was no layoff as such. Rather, we created opportunities for them to kind of look out for options for themselves. Secondly, when you talk about what differently we did in this time, the initial 3 months of lockdown, when we were there, we understood that business is not going to start easy, right? So what we started doing is, first thing that we started was we started a program called Train the Experts. So we started getting in touch with our clients and, in fact, certain partners of ours, and we started doing training programs with them for our employees. Now, this was, across the industry, across the, the portfolio that we worked on. And we also, pushed our clients to, or rather our employees to go and learn new techniques, new softwares, take certain courses. So we started pushing them and, helping them into take those added knowledge that they could have. So the first 3 months, we invested into our own teams, right? Whether it was knowledge gain, whether it was experience gain, all of that came together. And that's when, after 3 months, we started putting efforts into getting clients on board for virtual events. One good part with us was the other company that we have is Uncomplicated Studio, which creates AVs and films. That became very handy because at this time, most of the communication was happening via, the audiovisual medium. So most of our clients, we were doing, in fact, initial bit, we started doing certain audio visuals for all our clients. We were, bringing awareness with the COVID sanitation, all the things that we were doing. The clients started reaching out to us to help them with all the kind of internal and external communication that we're doing. That helped us, in fact. That was a big support which we got in virtual events also, as well as individual business that we started doing on a digital front. Also, I think where we found an edge over the other partners, if I may say, most of the, in fact, this I don't know if it's positive or negative, with so many layoffs happening and certain companies closing as well. There were too many good talent which was available in the market, which started reaching out to clients directly. Now, obviously, a single man army who had contacts with persons, with the vendors also, they were ready to work on very less margins, right? So when, you have to, you are sustaining a team of good 15, 20 people. And, at the same time, you are now standing against a person who's ready to work on a very thin margin. You were, I don't know, it was just a chance that either the clients go with them because of cost being an advantage, or they would look at you if you are able to bring some value in terms of content concept. That's what people are looking at. So we were losing out on business where it was only a cost model, right? If it was a normal webinar, we were losing out. But there were clients who reached out to us and they wanted concept based, content based stuff where we were winning pitches. That's where we had an edge over these partners. Last year, one of the reason of the clients also did not know about what virtual events are, what webinars are. People were selling webinars and terming it as virtual events, and selling it half the price or maybe even lesser. So it took time for us to educate the clients also. When some clients worked with us, we created some customized platform for them, customized solutions for them, and that's when they could differentiate between what a webinar is and what a virtual event is. So yes, it was tough. I'm sure everyone has a similar story. But like I said, we were sustaining with the mindset that 1 year at max, and then things will open up. We in fact just came back from Goa. We did a big exhibition, Couture India show in Goa, and we were very hopeful that after that now things will open up. And as soon as we were back, we heard the story that Mumbai is under lockdown, Delhi is again under night curfew. This is putting another pressure on us because where we were thinking of now going back to normal, we would be back at the same place where we were last year at the same time. So another year of similar story, or and like Rashid rightly said, the clients are now willing to create an experience for their employees and not just communicating to them from a one way to two way, creating better experiences and engagements. So I think the challenge will be bigger, but I guess all of us are ready to take those challenges, create new things, and going back to our clients with new solutions.
Ms. Joshi, thanks for being so patient. You have been, you have provided technological solutions, and some of them have been really, kind of taken on a large scale. Tell me, from the tech side, the event tech side, how mature has our technology become in the last 1 year in its offerings? Because it sounded like a physical event has been replicated online, but how mature have we become on that front now?
Okay, thank you, Rohil. Hello, everyone in the panel. I think what has happened is we have become more sensitive. The clients have become more sensitive. They understand the word streaming, they understand bandwidth, they understand what a full HD quality would be. So all these technical nitty-gritties, once your client understands, he's able to get better out of you and better out of people who are underperforming. There are so many people in our industry now who are offering virtual events, and half of them really, like Akshay was mentioning, half of them don't understand the difference between just doing a very simple streaming and what a virtual event can do. Also is a lot of theoretical knowledge that have been built looking at analytics. So our clients are able to understand what has happened with their events over a period of time, what features. It's just like A/B testing, which is a very famous thing in any kind of computer aided research. But they are able to do this A/B testing in the real world across their several events, and now they have a very clear understanding of what features work and what features don't work. Just like Rashid said, what is next for virtual? I think more personalization, customized interfaces. So I and Rashid could have a completely different taste, and there could be things that can get customized for him and me. And then going into more experiential stuff, which could be introducing more of WebGL, which is 3D on the web, empowering you with augmented reality. So you can use your phone to augment some kind of launch event, which is happening live, and several other aspects like interesting features from an example would be Clubhouse, where you move around the group. So their discussions are happening in a virtual event. You can actually move around the groups and you can listen to what groups are doing. So adding more and more human features to a virtual event is the next step for industry, and clients are very well placed because they understand what works, what doesn't work.
Mr. Pawar, there's also a conversation that what Mr. Syed referred to as, clients are now, they want engagement, and there's a certain, when we have reached a point where we need a little bit of break from frequent, so many events happening virtually. What are you hearing from the client side about the virtual event?
So I think the clients very strongly are using a word called digital fatigue. And that's the next that the tech platforms or people who are behind these tech platforms need to understand. User journeys need to be understood properly. See, we don't have much time. Look at here Elon Musk, or here all these guys, 5 years. And what actually we are doing right now, as all of us as platform builders or whoso is working towards this, is basically getting in the information behind which AI in future is going to gather and work it out for you. So honestly, it's 4 or 5 years down the line and AI would take over. If you look at worldwide, events are said to be now, can the mobile and can the laptop screens be removed out from our fronts, and can there be anything else? Why can't that be? So there can be a zone where you're getting into an event. That zone is being created by your Oculus goggles and stuff like that. So things are still in a very nascent stage in India. In fact, we're still roaming around on our pilots, but other parts of the world have already started accepting, yes, virtual is there to stay on now. How, I think the one panel before, the gentleman was talking about the kind of experiences that are created and the crores of rupees that have been spent earlier on those mega events, and now in a crore, how he is able to do a mega. Because see, we are creating a television product. Geography is become history. People are hiring people from across the world. So we are right now sitting in a position where there is no reason or a need for just to do those 200-300 engagements which are there. So people have understood, businesses have, models have changed. Virtual is there to stay. Now, how engaging do we make virtual? How does a person feel that 1.5? It's like a movie we are watching or a television show we are watching. What is it that 1.5 hour that you're going to give? I would say, look at strongly the artists, look at strongly the engaging partners who are there. Look at these people who are going to build your event or build that story, and how you put that story out to people. Also, I think the other parts like Nikhil, very high on tech, can think of what kind of one-on-one engagements that are possible today, wherein we still take us from Zoom right now, and we are broadcasting with a 18 seconds delay out onto a panel where people are watching after some time, and there's no way we are engaging with them but a chat. Why can't this be in real time? Why can't there be responses in real time? So all those things need to be still worked out. I think that digital fatigue will go out someday if the engagement is better, and if the story that we are talking about or that is being unveiling at any time for anyone is very experiential. So that experiences need to be bettered right now, and I think technology needs to help us do that properly. I'll give you one example here. Sorry, Rohil. And I think Nikhil should talk about it more, because in future, 5 years down the line, when I was talking about what AI is going to be, look at what Unreal Engine is doing. There is no more rendering. On our virtual events, now we can create stages in real time using real environments, placing you in real out there in a studio. That's a studio we have created in Lokhandwala right now. Okay, it's a large studio. It's an Unreal-based technology. So you can just be coming in and the cameras move and pan the scenes behind you. Now these movies, the large movies, the multi-billion-dollar movies, have been created in one room now. So if that's the possibility, so your post-production is coming down completely, and your everything is happening in that one studio, and you're going to do things faster. You're still creating content, but how you're creating the content, how you're creating the virtual content, how faster are you creating that? That's the technology. So meta humans, which are the upcoming future of faces and people. Like I can create a digital you, and then how that digital you is going to be interacting left out in the virtual world, and that is going to be the future. So in next 4 years, 5 years down the line, you're going to see that there's nobody's going to stop that. Everybody has to bring it in.
Like I just want to add, like what
Please,
Deepak said, it's already happening. Volumetric shooting using cameras. So I can have Deepak, and then I can have a completely real-time 3D space built in Unreal, and I can move around them. So every participant of the virtual event can choose his own perspective, because there's nothing 2D about it. It's not like a two-dimensional movie that we should. It's already happening. You have Microsoft volumetric capture studios that you can hire, and there's at several places internationally. They're not in India right now, but it's just about time. Maybe I would give it only 2 years. I think the need right now is there. India as an economy has a lot of people who would want to invest in something like that. Those studios and those technologies, as soon as they are available in Mumbai, in metropolitan cities, we would be able to build real-time 3D studios which are stored in our computers. We never have to actually go out, and people can be there will be cameras that will shoot you volumetrically, so I can augment you. I can see you inside a VR glass in a hologram, and just move around you, shake hand. Just I could be standing behind you in a virtual event, and you can just look back at me. All things that are natural to humans would come to life as soon as we are able to achieve these things, and they are already there. They are in their first leg of getting developed in a lot of parts in Europe and US. But I think in just couple of years, we will be there. Some huge international client would start it in India when they have to invest a huge amount to start off with.
Right.
But yes.
Sounds very fascinating. On that note, Mr. Syed, tell me, what do you think of experiential spend coming back before the second wave that we're talking about? What were brands thinking, and are they going to withhold those budgets again? What is your understanding in your conversations with brands?
So we have a term in Josh P. Johnson that we are called roaring 20s. So what we were hearing from our clients is that they are just, fed up of the whole digital fatigue, like Deepak also mentioned, both our customers as well as our clients. And they're just looking forward to events coming back. In fact, my CEO, who was based in San Francisco, he visited Vegas recently for a meeting, and he got a feedback from the properties that he visited, saying that the bookings for 2022 are on the same level as 2019. So
Right.
clients are just absolutely looking forward to coming back to physical events, because that's what was giving them the ROI, giving them the engagement, deepening relationships, having better conversations about the products and services. And we human beings are social animals, right? There's only so much that we can stay online, no matter how much engagement, how much experiences, how many new event formats you do, how many ever technology aspects and innovations you bring into the scene. We need to go out there and meet each other and shake hands and have conversations, whether personal or business. So I was hearing from clients that physical events something they want to come back very, very strongly to. Just one other thing I wanted to add, Ruhail, is that we all are really excited about what virtual events can offer, both in terms of geography as well as the number of people that we can reach. But I read a article, an interview actually by the Salesforce global CMO about when we were getting into lockdown last year and virtual events were happening. She said that any virtual event that has more than 12 people is a waste of time and waste of money. She says that you cannot create engagement for more than 12 people in the room in a virtual scenario. There's thousands of people that we get. Of course, if you're doing an entertaining show or you're doing some concert and things like that where people are engaging, Billie Eilish and Justin Bieber and all these guys did global shows virtually, and people were paying 2,500 rupees ticket in India and attending those shows. That's fine. The people are attending, listening, engagement is happening virtually. But if you're in a B2B context, anything more than 12 people, of course, you have to take that with a sack of salt, because you can't really, how many people can you really touch if you do 12 people at a time virtual event? And
Right.
Salesforce did a Dreamforce event with us 2019, which had 1,72,000 people attending from all over the world. A B2B event with 1,72,000 people, and she's talking about having 12 people in an event in a virtual scenario. So scaling that is obviously a challenge, but I think the point that is being made is that engagement, if you have to do, it can't be done at scale. It has to be done, one to few rather than one to many.
Right. Mr. Chawla, while Mr. Said said that clients are waiting for physical events to resume, we have heard a lot about phygital. I think now on physical events will have a tech component as an essential part. What is your reading? Is it the case? Is it going to be so now?
Definitely. I think, if you look at digital, that's going to be the future. Like Mr. said, people and companies, the corporates are willing and waiting to come back to the physical scenario. Like I said, we just did a hybrid event. It was a hybrid launch for a client of ours. We went for an exhibition in Goa. We had networking dinners there. There were a lot of queries which were lined up for physical events as such. But whenever the briefs were coming, it was lined up with virtual streaming along with it. So virtual will not fade out. It's not just limited to 2020. Virtual would be a part of it. I think it will be more of a combination that we will have to now offer to our clients. There will be physical events with reaching out to more number of masses through the virtual scenario being kind of added to it. And that's where I think the future lies.
Right. I'm so sorry. I am short on time today, and we have the award function virtually, which we're doing. And despite what the state of the industry is, we received close to 200 nominations, and we're glad for everyone who supported us. Thank you once again for joining us. We'll have another conversation another day very soon. Thanks once again. Over to you, Nama.
Thank you, panelists, for sharing your valuable insights and sharing with us how the past year has been for your respective organizations. I would also like to thank all our speakers who joined us today throughout the day. We will shortly move on to the virtual ceremony to honor winners of BW Applause Experiential Marketing Awards 2021. Please stay tuned with us. Thank you.
Thank you.